Good morning, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, June 17th. Big day, big day. The NBA has given out its 400-page guideline for how the Biodome will be working down in Orlando. And after talking to Tony Meola just last week, American soccer icon, what the MLS players are being tasked with doing whenever they're playing in their Biodome down in Orlando starting July 8th versus what the NBA players are doing. Two very different operations, which would make people believe, once again, Adam Silver, best commissioner going is what everybody's saying. Now, there's going to be some drawbacks, obviously, because there's a lot of things going on in our world, and people have heard Kyrie Irving talk about his drawbacks and concerns, and Avery Bradley of the Players Coalition, his drawbacks and his concerns. But then there's also a lot of players and OG players that have come out and said, hey, this is a big time for not only our sport, our culture, our community spotlight. Kendrick Perkins went on a run this morning, Matt Barnes yesterday, Stephen A. Smith. Then you got Kyrie and Avery Bradley, and I assume others. It's going to be interesting, but the NBA has given them a date of June 24th. The players have to come back and say, hey, we want to do this. We don't want to do this. They're staying in 3 different hotels down in Orlando based on seeding. You know, what are nice hotels. We go for the good teams, the middle of the pack teams. You guys get an average ass hotel. And then those that are at the bottom of the pack there, you'll be staying at the Yacht Club. Okay, and the Yacht Club is one that nobody desires. It has a great name, but it's not that nice. And now they're kind of going through the entire thing. And last night, the man that was ahead of the game, and we've been learning about the insider world in baseball. Yesterday, we learned a lot from David Sampson. We'll revisit that in the second hour because that's something that people need to hear. But in the insider game, we learned from our friend who's about to join us that the insider game involves a lot of reading. Because whenever memos are sent out or things like that, if you're a fast reader and you can get to the information that people want to hear before anybody else, all of a sudden you are the fastest insider. Yesterday, all of the NBA media and insiders were given the memo that was handed out to all the players, I'd assume, that they have to vote on. And our guy, who's joining us right now from The Athletic, senior NBA insider at The Athletic, Charania.
Yeah! Woo!
was beating everybody last night. I don't know if he was just reading faster than everybody, digesting everything faster, tweeting fast. Twitter fingers were moving very quick. Sham, your tweets last night were like an AR-15 just coming out with information. Here it is, here it is, here it is. It actually got to the point where other insiders just went to the end of the thing and started reporting from the last couple pages because you were getting everything early. From everything that you tweeted last night, congratulations, by the way. You're climbing up the ranks of being the guy to go to for any information and knowledge whenever the NBA drops it. From your information last night, did you get a feeling that this was a lot better setup for the players like I did than initially reported? Or was this kind of on par for what you were expecting whenever the guidelines came out?
You know, this has been something that's been rumored for a while. Like, you know, teams, agents, players, the NBPA, the Players Union, obviously the league, they've all been working through this document for weeks and weeks and weeks. And everyone has been sitting on pins and needles, like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? And I'd gotten a tip earlier yesterday that, you know, look out for it tonight. And so I looked out for it. And I think players, from my knowledge, players are still sifting through a lot of the material. You know, players received pretty much a 7 to 8 page summary of the entire packet. Meanwhile, teams got the full 113 pages. So, you know, players aren't going to be going through the full 113 pages. But as far as the packet itself, it is daunting. There's going to be some players that sit out because they do not want part of all that Orlando will entail. But, you know, when you read through it all, you read all the details. To me, it's the NBA just making sure that it can be as safe as possible, that there is no crack in whatever they end up, you know, coming, you know, with their return with. They don't want this to go downhill. And so they're going to do whatever it takes to shore that up. They're expecting you to follow all the rules. If you don't, you could be subject to suspension, reduction of salary. So you know, obviously the anonymous tip hotline that we reported last night.
Hey,
so
this thing,
there are a lot of factors.
That anonymous hotline tip thing is amazing to me because we know that this was instituted by some states, right? They were like, hey, if you see somebody eating too close to the place or getting food, you should call the cops on them for not practicing social distancing. So whenever this came out last night that the NBA was doing the same exact thing, let me tell you my first thought as a member of the New Orleans Pelicans, okay? My first thought was, since I'm probably not going to get invited to the Dome down there, but I'm going to do everything I can for the Pelicans, I'm going to get a helicopter and fly them over those 2 nice hotels. And if any Western Conference team thinks that they're going to be doing any hanky-panky with each other outside in the lobby or outside in the pool and they're not going to be social distancing, I'm going to be calling that hotline as much as possible. I would assume that hotline will not get used by players. It'll become an understanding whenever you go down there, hey, this is our life. We're going to go through this together. But that's how serious the NBA wanted people to know that they were about abiding by all the guidelines so that their players are safe. I'd assume that's why that was added in there. Do you agree?
100%, and the league is trying to go above and beyond, and they agreed on this entire 113-page packet with the NBPA. So it's not like the Players Union should have been caught off guard, but you know, with the hotline, they're clearly providing a service that if a player does, you know, Michelle Roberts said on a call a couple of weeks ago, I found fascinating. You know, she's like, listen, we're not going to be tracking where you guys are going to be going. Michelle Roberts, obviously the executive director of the PA, she said, we're not going to be tracking you, but we'll know if you leave. And so some players took that as a kind of a whoa, like is that an unintended shot that you're somehow you guys will still monitor us? And I guess this is a way to monitor them. You know, every player will have to, every player, coach, anyone in the campus will also have to wear, you know, what they call a magic band, which is essentially Disney's wristband that will allow hotel room access and coronavirus checkpoints and security checkpoints, screening checkpoints, and so. You know, there are some agents, some players that fear that could be a tracking device in some sense that the league, that Disney could use to track where players are. And obviously the NBA, the NBPA will never, they say that is not a thing. The NBPA made it clear to its players, we are not tracking you guys, at least from a software standpoint. But there is that thought and that fear among players that we are being, that maybe our privacy is being too invasive.
That was a real conversation. They're like, hey, they're giving us this this Mickey Mouse band because that means we showed our ID and we got into the club, right? So they put a wristband on you, they put a stamp on you. You got your ID, you don't have coronavirus, you're allowed in these certain places. And then now, because the world that we're living in 2020 with the way technology is, some guys were like, oh, you just think that band's just get in there, huh? You don't think that they're going to be, because that's really what could happen nowadays. I mean, you have your phone is tracking you at all times. You got the Whoop thing that tracks your sleep that you wear on your, I mean, that is a real fear for some of these players, I'd assume. Let's dive into a little bit more of what the day-to-day is going to be like. Because the MLS, Tony Meola told us that the MLS players, they go to training, they go right back to their hotel room. 3 meals will be served to their hotel room. They'll watch film from their hotel room. They go to a game, they come right back to their hotel room. They were basically locked in their hotel rooms for however long this 54-game tournament will be for the MLS. That's what Tony Meola's understanding of the rules was. So whenever we thought the NBA was going to have those same types of rules, I thought that was going to be very difficult to get that done, because no matter how much money you have or whatever, if you're being told, especially coming off a quarantine and everything that's going on, that you have to be in your room for 35 to 40. You go to your room for 35 to 40 days. You can go to practice, you can go, but for 35 to 40 days, that's a tough commitment. I can't believe the MLS did that. I thank them for doing that. Can't wait to watch the tournament. But now that it's come out that the players are allowed to use pools, they're allowed to use the VIP concierge, they're allowed to use the golf courses, they're really allowed to do, I don't want to say a lot of things, but it can't play doubles ping pong. Don't even think about playing with a teammate. It's one-on-one, stand on the opposite side of the ping pong table. Unless you want to go in the pool together, then you can stand in there together. And if you want to play basketball against each other, you can sweat on each other there, but only singles ping pong. But it feels like this is a much better, at least living experience than I could have fathomed that they were going to potentially end up with for the NBA thing.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it is like summer camp. Like, these guys are going away like 10 years ago. For some of these guys, 15 years ago, maybe for some of these guys, like going back to AAU camp tournaments and, spending the weekend in Orlando. Except now, instead of the weekend for the NBA champion, this could end up being a 4-month expedition. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I think that this is the best circumstance the NBA could come up with. Adam Silver has said it time and time again. We're going to be choosing from a lot of bad options. We just got to make sure we choose the best of the bad options. And so, this is the best of that, and they wanted to make sure that the safety was first and foremost. They're blocking everyone off. You can't leave. You can't enter. And if a player does leave, like it was very, the charges are going to be very serious. 10 to 14 days quarantine, no pay for the games you miss. And players guys do not want the invasive nasal swab. And if you leave the bubble, you're caught and you have to go through this protocol, you will get that invasive nasal swab perhaps daily.
Yeah, I wonder if they led off with that. By the way, you leave, going to have to get that nose checked as soon as you get back. Maybe twice for however many times you leave. The Kyrie Irving, Avery Bradley message that it had been reported, I don't know if it was probably by you, by the way, that I think 80 players were on the call kind of listening to that about how you go to Orlando, you're potentially away from the mission and message of social justice for everybody. And then there was the alternative point that was like, hey, down there, though, you're going to have a lot of eyes on you, you're going to have a lot of cameras on you. You can probably boost and spotlight that message even bigger. So there's been two different viewpoints here, very polar opposite. And there was a lie that Kyrie Irving wanted to start his own league. He came out and said that isn't true. But how much dissension is there, does it feel, amongst the players about this concept, even though the NBPA was with the NBA while they were putting this entire thing together? Do you think their June 24th vote, when it comes back, will be like the NFL CBA vote where it was like 51 to 49? Do you think it'll be like that, or will this be a unanimous type thing?
No, I think the majority of players want to play, but the NBA and the PA are making this an individual decision. Like, the decision's already made. The NBA is moving forward. They want to resume their season. Now it's about who's coming along for the ride. The NBPA and the league approved not only the format, but the entire health protocol. So the league is moving forward, but there are pretty much 3 or 4 groups of players that do not, that the NBA is going to have to see where they go. There's this Kyrie Irving group with Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley. There were several other players on that call, Carmelo Anthony, like you said, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard, guys that are just not feeling that the league going back into playing is what's best for the country and what's best for these athletes, right? There's that group. There's also the group of players, I'm told, that are just deciding if this is the right fit for them. Do they really want to go through the bubble? there are players that have dealt with losses in their life during this pandemic, that are dealing with health issues with family members, that have to decide if we're going to return. There are some very notable players, I can tell you, Pat, that are seriously deciding whether this is the right time for them to make their return.
Names.
And
Names.
it has nothing to do with this coalition.
Who?
I don't your bubble right now, but they're deciding if and it has nothing to do, quote unquote, with this coalition. Some of the same values and morals may apply, but it's each individual decision. And then there is the majority of players, I feel, that still do want to return to some extent. Damian Lillard said this week that he doesn't feel 100% risk-free about this whole procedure of going into Orlando and everything that it entails. But he knows he has a responsibility to provide for his family. He has a responsibility to return to the floor. And that's how I feel like a majority of the players do still feel.
Avery Bradley of the Players Coalition came out and said the owners can do a lot more to help our message. They're talking about using black-owned vendors for in the arenas, giving back more money, because the NBA is a predominantly black league. Do you think that those things are going to potentially get answered by the NBA owner? It feels like that's something the NBA owners and the NBA league feels like they are the most fast acting, quick thinking, try to make the right decision league. And I might be completely wrong just as an outsider looking in, but it feels like they are a league that kind of, like, hey, we feel like we got to give back a little bit. Do you think there is a way for the Avery Bradley, Kyrie Irving group, or any other group that doesn't want to go to have conversations with the NBA to move forward and ultimately change their mind?
I do. The NBA, like you said, it's been the most progressive league. From what I'm told, the league is just sitting back, waiting to listen from the players. They're trying to do more listening than actually going out and just donating money to random charities. They want to hear a plan, a specific plan from the players for them to execute. That's what I'm told they're doing. The league really views that opportunity going down to Orlando as a platform for them to shed light on the social injustices going on, whether that's through, my idea is do special commercials, have special shirts, special warm-ups, special court decor. There's so many different things they can do. And, from what I'm told, it's not like the league would oppose a player kneeling during the national anthem. This isn't per se the NFL where, we saw what happened with Colin Kaepernick. Whoa. These are the types of acts that the NBA embraces. They want players to go and really use their platform, use their voice, use their brand, use their face to display a message. And if a player chooses to kneel, during the anthem, they won't be fined, they won't be suspended. The NBA's always been open to hearing out the ideas. They want the players to drive this conversation.
How about the players that choose not to go down? I know it's been said that there'll be no punishment, but the player will always think, well, there's no punishment, but that'll be something that'll be remembered. How does the NBA, how do the players, I don't know, because if I was ever told it's like the voluntary workouts, right? Like, yeah, they're voluntary, but your playing time is also something that is kind of like, there's always like that kind of, is there any hint of that from the NBA to the NBA players? Like, whenever they say there's no, like, if you choose not to come, it's not that big of a deal. I would assume, though, at some point, there might be some owners in the NBA that'll be like, I remember that guy chose not to come down or something. I don't know. Is there any thought of that?
No. I agree with you. I think the guys that sit, there will be some, there'll be a memory of them. And that's not a bad thing per se. The hope is that they don't get blackballed. Like if some of the guys from this coalition group, like Avery Bradley, et cetera, if they decide to sit out, ultimately, they've already talked about it. If they actually do decide to go through with it, the hope is that it doesn't become a situation where they become blackballed, right? And so, the league has made it clear we respect any and all decisions from any players. But, let's be honest, if a player from, especially a contending team, decides not to play, it'll be remembered not only from the teammates, but around the league. And it'll be a topic. And so it's tough to think that it won't be a thing. But in the back of everyone's minds, they'll always remember, like, hey, so-and-so did not play. He did not join us. And maybe we won the championship. Maybe we didn't go as far as we thought we would, because this guy sat out.
Yeah, I just think that is something that the players should definitely think about. Because this will now, granted, what will be remembered also is them taking a stand for something that they believe in. So I think there's kind of both sides.
No
of it.
question, and that's the way I view it. Like, guys, everyone is entitled to their own feeling, their own thought. Like, if a guy decides to sit out for whatever reason, that's on him. Like, that's his decision. You applaud that and you keep it moving. And I think that's the approach a lot of people around the league that I've talked to have also wanted to take.
Okay, July 31st, the basketball world is supposed to pop back off. They got golf courses, they got concierges, they got 24-hour room service, they got pools, they got singles, ping pong. Ooh. But they do have 35 to 40 days at least away from their families after this entire quarantine with the world upside down. There's a big decision for them to make. Can't wait to hear what it is June 24th. I will be following along with you, sir, as that news breaks, because you're the first one to everything. It's impressive, and we're incredibly happy and proud of you, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, Charania.
That boy, Shams!
That boy, Shams!
Shams!
Hey, that's the next generation right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The next generation. At Tone Diggs is here. At Nick Morato's here. Ty Schmidt's here. Jason McAfee's here. Viva Lazito's here. Evan Fox is here. Boston Connor's on the phones. Looking like a rock star, Brett.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of a rock star look today.
You look unbelievable. What is on your dry erase board?
Oh, on the dry erase board today, the first sunglasses were invented in 12th century China.
Really?
Yes. The pictures of them are awesome, too.
Oh.
Yeah, a couple seashells. Almost, connected by a string.
Really?
Yeah. Shade the eyes.
So like,
Cool
they were like
glasses.
tan-
Cool glasses. Cool glasses.
Cool glasses.
Cool glasses.
Cool glasses.
Also, intern Mitt is here. What up, Mitt? He's sober too, by the way. Good for him.
Yeah, sure.
Wednesday, 24 hours, maybe 12, maybe 10. We don't know how many hours he has been booze free. But I had to get immediately to the Charania interview because he has a lot of other things to go on. He has a lot of conversations. I'm happy he stopped to talk to us there. I think this is all systems go. I did not know that they were setting up the guidelines with the MBPA. I mean, if they're a part of the entire conversation, that eliminates the post-drama about, hey, we got to take this out. It's like, well, we literally agreed to this. That's a good thing. I think there's going to be some players that sit out. I think that's going to happen. But I think there's going to be a lot more that go down there because it is going to be a massive spotlight, and everybody on earth is going to be watching.
I think the interesting thing that you asked and he was talking about was the blackballing potentially by owners and stuff like that if they don't go down. But what about teammates like Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard who are on the Lakers, and then Patrick Beverley says, if LeBron says we're balling, but if Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard don't go, like, is LeBron going to be like, yeah, let's sign them next year? Or is LeBron going to be like, those guys were not in for us to win a championship?
Yeah, there's always like hey, there can't be any repercussions for any decisions. But then you got humans making decisions, and humans have feelings. So it's like that is just I don't want to say that's all lip service. It's a good thought. I think it's a good reminder. But it depends on who chooses and who doesn't. If there's only a couple that choose not to go while everybody else goes, and what happens, by the way, if this tournament down in Orlando does prove to be a massive spotlight on the protest and on the message, the people that chose not to go because of that, that's going to be somewhere people are going to be like, well, don't you wish that you were maybe had a press conference every day that you could speak? Like that is, so it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out. Whenever we first got into the sports stoppage, I was talking about how rolling back into things is going to be interesting. Like that was one of my first thoughts was, because the world had completely changed. I mean, let alone after George Floyd's murder, but the world had completely changed. Everybody's life went upside down. It only takes like 20 days to start a new habit or something like that. So I was excited to see how we're going to roll back into things on the other side of this whole thing. And I think that speculation on that being a wild time back then is accurate. Like because now there's everything is on the table. Like, for instance, the MLB, there's an agent in the MLB world that's saying like it feels as if the MLB is potentially trying to blow this whole thing up because they had no idea that a pandemic was going to stop their sport completely. They weren't going to be able to make money. Nobody's going to be able to go into stadiums. However you make all your money wasn't going to be able to happen. And you're a business where there's risk. So you can potentially lose money, but somehow in professional sports leagues, the owners never will do that, even though it's a business, which that type of stuff happens. But I think there's a chance that they are trying to reshape the future now to protect everybody's ass, mostly business-wise in the MLB. And I think a good way to do that, if you're an owner, not good like morally, but if you're an owner thinking from an owner, a good way to reshape the future so that you can come out of this maybe better than you were going in is you get rid of all the $200 million contracts that you signed before that whole thing. It feels, and now I'm not saying that that's going to happen. We're talking to Buster Only, by the way, the OG jet pass in here in like 20 minutes to talk to him. But this baseball thing, it's getting quiet, which means hopefully they're talking to each other as opposed to just publicly disputing with each other. But it feels like the baseball thing could be a very different world here on the other side of this thing.
Yeah, for sure. And to your point earlier about the MLS, like how does that season go on now? Like when they see what these guys are able to do and they have to do that, like how would you still agree to go play down there?
And also you have to remember as a human, Disney World I think just like an hour and 15 minutes left, there's been people on the beach for the last 3 months having. It's very. I mean, the MLS players. Thank you for going down there. They're starting July 8th. They're before everybody. So I assume the reason why is because they were so early. Their restrictions had to be so strict because they were going to be the first ones back. But if Tony Meola, American icon goalie for the United States soccer team, now color commentator for the Chicago Fire, and also he was in the U.S. national system for the last 5 years, which means he's basically a part of producing the national team, who makes it and who doesn't make it. And if you run into somebody that doesn't like it, can stall your go there. Might have happened a couple times. But what he said, that MLS schedule was insane. Now, the NBA one's very, very different. So will the MLS players now be like, hey, is there any way what Adam Silver did, we can just act like you did, and then we could just move on? I don't know. There's a lot. This whole getting back into things now is going to be a story in of itself whenever this whole thing's said and done.
Plus, it makes a difference, right, with the MLS that they have not received any game checks yet this year. So they are more willing to do some more things to get paid something this year.
Also, they're a league that hasn't had a lot of eyes on them.
Yeah.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic came back. I saw, 2 games, maybe 5 highlights last year of him, and he's an electrifying player. Beckham was in there for a long time. I saw him kick, 5 balls, probably you can remember. Wayne Rooney scored from beyond half field. I remember that. But other than that, it's just little blips. I think they averaged 249,000 viewers last year, the MLS. You get out there July 8th whenever there's no team sports back, there's a chance that really goes up. I mean, you got people watching Bundesliga right now that didn't even know the Germans still existed. It's a whole new world. 22 minutes after the hour. We got to get to a break. Big thanks to Charania for joining us. Buster Olney joins us in about 18 minutes. OG of the Baseball Insider. We'll talk to him about that. I will let you know, I am about done with talking about the drama of sports, but that's the world that we're living in right now. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Wednesday, June 17th. We'll be back on the other side. I was on a team that was very bad at football. We almost were completely defeated until Dan Orlovsky showed up and got 2 big wins. We ended up almost losing the luck pick because Dan Orlovsky, everybody thinks they're going to get fired. Every player thinks they're going to get cut. Every coach thinks they're going to get fired. They try to pawn blame off on other positional groups. If it's the linebackers, they're like, we did our job. D-line can't do anything, can't stop it. There's a lot of that chatter, but it's a miserable existence. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's why you have to have so much respect for a player like Joe Thomas, who played a perennial all-pro career in a situation that was so negative and so terrible. I think if Joe Thomas got a chance and his knees let him experience a winning organization, I couldn't even fathom what Joe Thomas would have thought. I mean, life is just much better whenever you win. When you win, food tastes better. Drinks taste better. Sex feels better. Everything is better when you win. Winning cures all, they say. That's not just in the building and for a football team. That's in your life. Everything is just better when you win. And when you lose, especially when you're talking about some of the most competitive humans on earth, it is a nightmare. You got a lot of people trying to jump off the ship. You got a lot of people trying to figure it out. And whenever you're in a situation like that, it's just a full-blown nightmare for everybody. You got to think, when you get to the NFL, let's assume that the humans that make it to the NFL have had a lot of success through their lives. High school football, probably one good player, a guy who's going to make the NFL can lead a team to success. In college, if you have a couple good players that can make the NFL and make it to the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins stink, you're still going to make the NFL. Let's assume that team has had success. So then you get to a completely unsuccessful operation, a completely defeated operation, and then it's like, man, this is a whole new life for us. I'll never forget, I had a coach, special teams coach. I won't say his name because this is a terrible thing to say as a coach. We lost the game. It was back in the first regime. We were a good team. We lost the game, and everybody was moping. Like people were not happy that we lost the game the next day. He was, you guys just haven't lost enough. That's what he said. Everybody looked at him and was like, yeah, no crap. What are you talking about, dude? Yeah, this is the winningest decade in NFL history here. Yeah, you haven't lost enough. It's like, you've lost too much, maybe. Are you just comfortable at this point? And that's whenever it can get a little scary. Whenever people are just comfortable just getting their asses kicked every week, that could be a problem. That's when the culture is probably a lost cause. That's when the locker room's too worried about playing dice or playing Boo-Ray or anything else like that. When that starts happening after losses, then you know you're in a bad spot. And I would assume that's not happening at the Dolphins, especially under Ryan Fitzpatrick's watch. But maybe it is. I don't know. But that is a miserable existence. I am not a fan of that. I got 5 on it. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, Wednesday, June 17th. That was the hack version of that song. Can't thank them enough. Good bangers over there, Nick. Nick, I know that you get sent these lists of copyright-free music that we're allowed to play on this show, because if not, we'll get a YouTube strike. I know you go through that every single night and pick good songs for the show because you want the show to be as good as possible. The fact that you found that one last night, really, really good. Nick said he does that every single night, too.
Wow. Unfortunately, I cannot take credit for finding that one. That was sent to us by Twine.
Twine, the house, y'all. Twine's unbelievable. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Grammy. You have a ghostwriter, huh?
By the way,
I would never steal Twine shine. I can't do it.
By the way, as soon as that thing comes on, everybody in the studio, and I would assume at home, if you're watching this on YouTube, you don't know this, we play music and videos throughout the breaks at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. But as soon as that song came on, everybody in the office started bobbing his head. Even Don over there in California, who's on the other side, started bobbing his head. And that's because Twine puts out bangers. I thought this was potentially a reap what you sow type thing, where you did all of that hard work of looking through all those music selections that you have every single night. I know you do that, and then you picked a song, but instead it just showed up in your email from a guy named Twine.
Yep, Piss Missile City it was called.
That song's called Piss Missile City? Run it back. Let's hear this.
Take us there.
Let's do it. Oh. Where's Twine from? He's not the British guy. The British guy is the rapper.
A Nazi.
A Nazi. A Nazi needs to get on this.
He does.
We need to put a Nazi and Twine together. Maybe get Uncle Sam in there. Oh, and then you're the Buffalo coming in. Oh, my God. For the break. Piss Missile City. It's a lot of syllables.
I like it here.
All right, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show, 30 minutes after the hour. We got some old white listening to this on the radio. This ain't sports talk. All right, let's get to some sports talk. Jimmy Garoppolo has finally spoke about the Tom Brady potentially going to the 49ers situation. Jimmy G said that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were nothing but open and truthful with him throughout the entire process. He said he understands that it's their job to make the team the best it could possibly be in looking into all potential options. But at the end of the day, he loves them, he loves the team, and he's excited to move forward. And the Jimmy G situation is such an interesting one because he was one deep ball away. Okay, one deep ball in the Super Bowl away from completing that, in this whole conversation not even happening, not even coming close to happening or anything like that. He completes that deep ball in the fourth quarter. We all know what it is in the Super Bowl. That's a touchdown. San Francisco probably wins that Super Bowl. Or on the flip side, at the end of the first half there, whenever the phantom pass interference call was called on George Kittle that he dropped into a bucket, if that's a completion, probably more points on the board. Maybe the Chiefs don't have enough firepower to come back. Now, granted, that'd be saying something is damn damn near impossible that the Chiefs don't have enough firepower to come back. But if he completes that deep ball in the Super Bowl at the end of the game to score a touchdown there's no conversations. That then sparked, is Jimmy G their quarterback of the future? Jimmy G only threw the ball 8 times in the NFC Championship game, and then he missed there. And this guy who has done nothing but win whenever he plays for the San Francisco 49ers, nothing but win the entire time. But the way he was used, the way he missed that one throw, the conversation spun like, well, Tom Brady does love the San Francisco 49ers, doesn't he? There's a bunch of photos of a young, unathletic, not great at football yet, Tom Brady, wearing 49ers stuff. He likes to go closer to home. He loves his family. California kid. Is he going to go to the Niners? And everybody was like, well, don't even mention it. That'd be stupid to think. Then there was real smoke right there. There was real conversations, it is alleged. John Lynch had to answer it at the Combine. And once again, that one throw, if it's not missed, that conversation doesn't happen. But think about the domino ripple effect that could potentially happen there. Tom Brady goes to the Niners. Where's Jimmy G go? Maybe he goes to the Colts. Maybe he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe he goes back to the Patriots. Jameis Winston probably still maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. It's Phillip Rivers. Where's he at now? Because he's still on the market. So much could have happened. And if it was just one throw, probably doesn't happen. And that's why the NFL is impossible to succeed in. And anybody that does should get a big old round of applause. But Jimmy G's their quarterback of the future. They just locked in Kyle Shanahan for 6 years. I mean, the 49ers look to be a team that is going to be tough to stop in the NFC for the foreseeable future.
Jimmy G's saying all the right things here, but like first off, classy organization to have their quarterback that's there. For them to keep him informed of what they're going to do about potentially bringing in another quarterback.
You know that guy?
Just a classy organization.
You know that guy that you backed? Oh, yeah. That would be very nice of an organization to do that. To let the quarterback who's guided you to a lot of success.
Yeah.
Just let him know what the hell you're thinking, you know what I mean? Or maybe try to get better. But they chose not to ultimately do what the Packers did, which is to try to replace him immediately, even after having a great season. So I think that is why you can call them a classy organization. But when you think about Jimmy G saying all the right things, whenever Kyle Shanahan sends a text like, you up, you know, like, and then they do a conversation, hey, I just want to let you know that right now on the free agency market for the first time in 20 years, there's a guy, you know him. We are going to look into seeing if he would fit our offense, our system, if there's a fit potentially for us. But we do that, we're doing that with everybody. We're going to do that with Phillip Rivers. We're going to do that with Mike Glennon. We do that with every quarterback. Just so happens Tom Brady also potentially going to be in MX. We just want to let you know that. Jimmy, yeah, fine, do whatever you got to do. Hangs up the phone. Son of a bitch! This son of a bitch! In New England, I had to sit behind his handsome ass as he was so good. I get traded away. I go undefeated my first season with the 49ers. They were a terrible team before that. Then I get hurt. They lose. They stink. Get the second overall pick. I come back. We go to the Super Bowl. Now they're telling me that potentially Mike Glennon, Tom Brady is going to come in here. But get the hell out of here. Jimmy G had to be furious, but Jimmy G, then I would assume, said, yeah, this is just like Aaron Rodgers said about Jordan Love. Like, I understand their job is to look for the team's best interest, yada, 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 yada. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. But he is pumped that he saw Tampa Bay come to fruition, I'd assume.
They let the quarterback know. Do you think they let anybody else know about, hey, mate, we're thinking about bringing in Brady. What do you think?
Well, somebody, because the rumor got out. So somebody was told, unless Jimmy G's people were out there like, hey, we should try to get ahead of this and see if any other teams are potentially interested in a trade option, because we ain't going back to being a backup quarterback again, and they're not going to pay both me and Tom. So maybe we should float out. So maybe Jimmy's people were the ones that were floating out that they were potentially doing it, because that could ignite a conversation in other buildings like, hey, maybe we try to get Jimmy G in here if he becomes available. Like potentially the Patriots, who would not have enough money to pay him, though.
Basically,
everybody assumed that he was just going to go back to the Patriots because a lot of the people who are stooges were like, oh, they'll just trade. Patriots was trading Niners. Well, he's a free agent, so there's really nothing in return that is owed to the Patriots in that thing. But the Patriots were a team that were talking about, hey, they know the system. Jimmy G knows the system. He knows McDaniels. He knows the Patriot way. He's good. Maybe they make a trade for him, but they don't have anywhere near enough money. The Colts would have been an interesting option if they could have got Jimmy. That would have been a very, very interesting option. And now that we know the Carolina Panthers were potentially in the market for a quarterback that we didn't expect because Cam Newton was coming back healthy, he still does not have a team. But that is something, that ripple effect from that one missed throw is just absolute insanity.
Basically what happened was the Niners told their wife, like, hey, there was this girl back in high school who really, really, really liked us. We didn't reciprocate at the time, and now she's been married for the last 20 years, and there's some trouble in the relationship. So we're going to send her a DM or a text, see if there's any interest back. But if that doesn't work out, we're going to stay with you. We're not. We're
By the way, it has been said that she's like the greatest wife of all time. So even though it didn't work out, oh my God, great comparison by you, Diggs. That might be the most degenerate Diggs thing I've ever heard. That is one of the best comparisons I've heard. But that Jimmy G stuff, the more and more he talks about that whole situation, the more and more I'm intrigued by it because that was real. I think that was a real. People came after me.
Oh, yeah, big time.
People are coming after me very hard whenever I talk about it. Because if you're the Niners, does Tom Brady miss that throw?
Nope.
Connor, jeez.
He does it.
He's a member of the Buccaneers. But that is the thought that I had. I was like, so if you can get Tom Brady, he wants to go to your team. And you're not 100%. Now, this was after it came out that they didn't know if they were 100% sold on Jimmy G because of what happened. Like all the rumors that were around playoff run when he didn't have to do anything, which, by the way, is a talent that not a lot of people give him respect for, is not checking out of runs every single play to throw the ball is something a quarterback could and would and has done because it makes their numbers look better, makes them look like a better quarterback. But that team to win, all they had to do was hand the ball off a couple games because their front line, their running backs, the designs were so good. So the ability to say, yeah, this one isn't about me, it's about somebody else, is a talent in of itself. And whenever they need to call upon Jimmy G, I assume he'll be able to step up for them. But that conversation was starting all through playoffs about Jimmy G and Jimmy G and Jimmy G, and then a missed throw, and then Tom Brady's available, and he likes the Niners, he wants to go to the Niners. It was like, you have to have that conversation. And I was told that I was an absolute idiot by everybody saying, I think we got dropped from a San Francisco radio station because I was saying that. I'm just like, yo, come on, dude. Let's go to Kevin in Pennsylvania. What's going on, Kevin?
Not much, Pat. How about you?
Not too shabby, Kevin. What part of Pennsylvania you in?
I'm from Doylestown, just north of Philly by a little bit, like half hour, 45 minutes.
Oh, nice. Well, thanks for calling, Kevin. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I first want to say I like that you guys talking about Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. There's a little documentary called The Unauthorized Backstabbing Experience, made by the group Lonely Island. I think it'd be something you should maybe put your interest in. Just give it a quick watch.
Okay,
It's a little funny.
Okay,
But
got it.
also,
I think I've seen it.
I'm a Penn State student, and we got our schedule announced that we're coming back in the fall. I got a cousin who plays at Ohio State. He's already back there. You know, college football might be coming back.
Thank you, Kevin. College football might be coming back.
Yeah, here we go.
College football might be coming back. Let's go. Lonely Island, Bash Brothers, college football might be coming back. He goes to Penn State. We are Penn State. Joe New, let's move forward. Ohio State players had to sign a waiver to get back into working out. His friend plays over there. His cousin plays over there, whatever family member. It does feel like college football is probably coming back. It really does. I don't know how college football misses a season, which I guess is a conversation that is being had by some people, that college football is either going to be delayed or potentially pushed back or even miss a season because they don't know how many students are going to be allowed back on campus. And if students aren't allowed back on campus, can players play? Because they are student human athletes at the end of the day. So there's a lot of potential hypocrisy that has to fall on top of each other in the college football world, and they're scared about that. Plus, it also came out that if college football is delayed or anything, Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler are going to be the Monday Night Football team. Love that. Absolutely love that. Now, what will they do if Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler have to do college football on Saturday? Will they go back to back? Because they said now, if there's anything pushed back with college football, Kirk Herbstreit, Fowler will do Monday Night Football. What if there isn't, though? Which I think it is trending towards that case because all other sports are coming back. It'd be interesting to see if college football was one of the only ones that were like, hey, I'm not doing it because of this or that. I just don't see that happening, especially now with players going back to their college football teams, signing waivers, doing everything like that. I think college football is going to happen, and so does Kevin. He thinks it's probably going to happen. Good for Kevin in Pennsylvania. That's a good call. I like Herbstreit and Fowler a lot, by the way. I don't think it's easy to find a good booth. I don't think it is something that is just like drops out of nowhere. I think chemistry could be something that's difficult. That's why I think even though Witten and Booger didn't end up having a long time, I feel like if you give them a couple years, they might be able to figure it out. I think so. Kirk Herbstreit's polished, Fowler's polished. That's something that could be good for Monday Night Football. But if we have to lose college football for that, I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about that.
No, and it didn't sound like Herbstreit was too keen on doing that. Like, I mean, if there's college football this year, he will be calling it. He pretty much said.
What he told us whenever his name first got floated out there for Monday Night Football, he said, I will not College game day and primetime college football is his thing. He loves it. He enjoys it. It's his life. He said he will not sacrifice that for Monday Night Football. And then we kind of pressed him a little bit. Well, what if you didn't have to sacrifice that? Would you do it? And he just said, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And we're almost there, I think. I think that would be a good hire. Now, granted, I wanted Randy Moss in there, which maybe he still gets in there to give a little NFL credibility. Who knows? We got to pivot back to baseball because we have an OG baseball insider. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now from ESPN, Buster Olney.
Hey, Buster! Hey, Pat, how are you?
Buster, I'm good, man. It's awesome to talk to you for the first time ever. I've obviously watched your work for a long time on the ESPN. I don't watch much baseball games, so all my information comes from the talking heads on those clip shows. So I appreciate your service to my knowledge of the sport.
Well, I appreciate talking with you and been watching you as you ascend in the media world. Whose bat is that? That's what I need to know. Whose name is on that bat?
Buster, good question. You're a baseball insider. This is my bat. I played professionally for the Washington Wild Things one night. Yeah! Zoom in on that thing, Foxy, can you? Which one are we going to? This one? Look at this. You can get my dimensions on this bat, too, I think, right here underneath. It's a premium maple bat. Foxy, are we zooming in on this thing? Yep. Look at that, Buster. You see that?
I see that. Now, am I wrong or are the career stats 0 for 3?
Oh, no.
Buster.
The on-base percentage.
See you later, Buster.
On-base percentage. Great. On-base percentage is 333. And really, if you watch Moneyball, that is all that matters, Buster. Let's talk.
Well, I got to tell you a story. Once when I was covering the Yankees, Mike Messina was throwing a bullpen session. And this was in his heyday. And he was like, hey, you want to stand in there? I'm like, are you kidding? I'm the biggest coward ever. By the time I started to react, like my cranium would have been fractured. So that's a level of my confidence stepping into the plate. So actually, a tip of the cap to you for playing.
Thank you. I made contact on my first ever pitch that I saw in my entire life. So I didn't play growing up. So I stepped in the batter's box, and I was told by every professional baseball player that we knew that he was going to throw heat because I've never played baseball before. So if he throws anything other than a fastball, he will be mocked and ridiculed in the baseball world because he didn't have faith that his fastball could beat me. So I knew that the first pitch I was going to see was going to be a fastball right down the middle. And I was just, as soon as I walked in there, I did the old pause, excuse me, to the ump, let me get comfortable. And then it was literally like, all right, it's either going to be this one or none. Made contact, right back up the middle, squat square on it, just couldn't get the hips through it. And then I get blown hammy on my way to first. So, I mean, it was a long day, Buster. It was a long night in Washington Township.
Can I tell you a quick story? I know we're going to talk about the baseball situation, but a story that you'll appreciate. When I was covering the Nashville Sounds back in 1989, the manager of that team, Frank Lucchese, was asked by the Red scouting department, hey, we hear a lot about this former offensive lineman from the University of Tennessee. He's trying to pivot, and he wants to play baseball. And they set up a tryout for him at Greer Stadium. And it was just before the regular players took batting practice. And so this player got into the batting cage, and the first pitch in batting practice, he swung and missed. Oh, no. And then he swung and missed again, and again, and again. I'm not kidding, 15 to 20. And by the time, of course, we got to that number, you had the manager, the pitching coach, like covering their mouths because they were laughing so hard, and they felt so bad for him.
Yeah, it's not easy from what I've been told. I mean, I made it look very easy, but it is, from what I've been told, it is not easy to hit a baseball. I still have yet to get a successful hit, but I have gotten on base. Let's talk about baseball now, Buster. Your wheelhouse, you've been covering it since 1989. Is that what I just picked up there from that story?
Yep. As soon as I graduated from Vanderbilt, got a job at the Nashville Banners. I was covering AAA in 89 and 90.
Oh, you're a lifer here for baseball. You are a lifer in the baseball world. How does it make you feel to see where we're at right now? I mean, you go back to 94, everybody just saw the long gone summer. You go back to 94, everybody thought baseball was dead. Then the 98 summer comes and it's the top of the world. Now in 2020, it feels like baseball is potentially meeting another low point unless they can figure it out. Is that how you feel?
It's worse than 94, 95. And you know, I remember that clearly. I was covering the Padres in 94 when the players went on a strike. When they went, the players went out on a golf outing that day. I was part of Andy Bennis's foursome. Look, it took baseball a few years to come back. There's no doubt about it. But that was at a time of relative prosperity. You know, to watch this play out, especially in the public forum now, you know, the line I've been using is it's like two second cousins sitting in the back pew of a memorial service arguing loudly. Like, no one wants to hear this in this country right now, with 40 million plus people out of work, with all the death, everything that's happened since George Floyd was killed. It's been shocking that it's been as public as it was.
I agree, Buster. We have to get to a radio break. We will continue on youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show with Buster Oney. 5, 4, 3, 2. We're clear. Okay, Buster. Sorry about that. They had to send it to a break there on radio. So whenever you think that it's worse than 94, 95 because of the tone deafness of the entire conversation that's happening by both sides. But what do you think about the lingering effects after this? Now, everybody's assuming the players are tell us when and where. The owners know that they can set a schedule, but they're trying to create this season as short as possible so they don't have to pay out as much and have the playoffs as long as possible because that's where all the money's at. When do you think they come upon an agreement? Do you think there is going to be an agreement? Or are you in the phase where you're like, there is a chance that there's going to be no season this year?
Yeah, at this point, I think there's only two possible outcomes from this because the players are so unified in the moment. Either the owners are going to completely wave the white flag, completely capitulate, and give the players what they want. Let's say 70 games at full pay, okay? That has to happen. Sure, the players are not going to accept anything less than that, or it's going to be total war, where you're going to have hawks on the owner side. And I've been hearing since last month that there are at least 6 owners who are just like, you know what, shut it down. Let's go home. Let's save our money on the payroll this year. If that plays out, I can't even begin to imagine the long-term damage to the sport. Because, again, the context is so much different than 94, 95. If you remember, when baseball came back, and I was covering the Orioles in 95, you had Cal Ripken with the streak. Ooh. You had all those brand-new ballparks. You had so many things.
Whoa, is that Rob Manfred?
It's actually my old friend Peter Gammons.
Oh, Peter! I saw him this morning, I think. I saw Peter Gammons this morning.
So, I mean, they're just, back then, there were so many ways the sport could come back. I just don't know if people are going to forgive baseball. And think about, I remember talking with a baseball official in March who said to me, my goodness, we have a great opportunity to rebrand as we come back. Come back. We own the sporting stage in early July. We're going to get great ratings. You can rebrand the sport, put microphones on players, really begin to build the game and connect with the younger generation. My son, who's 15 years old, crazy sports fan, he doesn't like watching baseball. He said when he watched in that All Access week, he said, boy, if I saw that every game, he said, I would watch it. They've lost that opportunity. They've completely squandered it. And on top of that, they dragged the sport through the mud, especially the owners in the last 6 weeks.
Is this Rob Manfred's fault? I've blamed him numerous times. Now, listen, I am not scared to do that. You can't do this because you're one of the voices of baseball, but it does feel like Rob Manfred is the commissioner that will put his foot in his mouth the most at the most regular occasion.
I tend to think of Rob's job as being, and I don't mean this in the current political context, I think generally speaking, how we think of the position is being like a White House spokesperson. He doesn't have the real power. Okay. He's being sent out by the finance committee and essentially to convey the decisions they make. Back in 91, 92, Fay Vincent was fired as commissioner. He was really the last commissioner who worked to be independent from the owners and, quote unquote, serve the best interests of the game. Since then, I've always thought of the commissioners purely being an employee of the owners and doing their bidding.
$25 million to be hated by everybody. He's doing a great job. Great job at that. Is there a chance? I asked Jet Passon this yesterday. So is there a chance that whenever the CBA was up for the NFL in 2010, there was a lot of bickering between DeMaurice Smith and Roger Goodell? They were obviously not going to come to an agreement when the lockout was happening. So Jeff Saturday and a couple other players met up with Robert Kraft and a couple other owners, and they kind of got the deal done. Now, granted, there was some things that the players didn't love ultimately in hindsight with that deal that was finished, but the fact that Jeff Saturday went right to the owners to kind of get a deal done, it felt like that expedited the entire lockout ending process. Do you see this happening for any players or owners to kind of sideswipe the current conversations and be like, hey, listen, we know what we want. Let's get back to it?
That is the perfect question. And I saw Jeff's answer to you. He's as perplexed as I am in trying to come up with a name. I must have talked yesterday to 10 different people and asked them basically the question that you asked. Because at this point, as you said, it's in the hands of the owners to solve this, to get beyond the incrementalism of a lot of the offers. And so the question I ask to people, who's that guy who can step across and away from the Hawks and basically shake the rest of the owners by the collar and say, we are damaging the sport. Are you people out of your minds? Make the offer that the players can't refuse and at least give us a chance to attempt to come back. Every person I talked to could not come up with a name. Now, I don't know if that might not necessarily mean that person doesn't exist, that person who can build a coalition doesn't exist, but it's not someone who's easily identifiable, that's for sure.
Oh, geez. Well, Buster Oney, I can't thank you enough for joining us. Your big brain is a good one. Your incredible knowledge is great. And to be honest, I had no idea that you had this good of a personality. I am very, very thankful. I would love to talk to you again. And let's hope baseball gets back into this thing.
That sounds great, Pat. Thank you.
When's this decision going to be made, Buster?
I think within the next few days. I think we're going to know within the next few days because the reality of the calendar is setting in.
Have you ever seen a swing this pretty? I know they're doing a Ken Griffey thing, but have you ever seen a
Hold.
Man.
Oh, Buster!
Homer.
Are you kidding me? That on-base percentage is .333, and I batted righty when I'm an actual lefty. Put it down in your notes, in your minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Buster Oney. Thank you, Buster.
Take care, guys.
Good guy. Good conversation.
Yes.
Been doing this thing since '89. He said over there with the Nashville Spooners,
Sounders. Maybe?
Sounders. You get it? Radio, music. Sounder, that would make sense. I don't think I fully understand what a sounder is. I think there's a Seattle Sounder right now.
Yeah,
as
there
well.
is.
Baseball's going to happen, I feel like. But the fact that he said that he's asked a lot of questions, everybody he knows, he's been around baseball 20-some years now, and nobody could tell him like who the owner is that would be able to go, you know what, let's get this deal done. Because everybody in the NFL knows, okay, Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, they're probably going to be the ones that are going to move in and shake in the most if they need something to happen. They seem to be the most at the forefront, progressive owners, let's get things done however fashion. That's why a lot of people are talking about Jerry Jones right now and not saying anything because they're like, normally Jerry would come out and speak. So who knows who's going to have to settle this? I guess it's going to have to be Rob Manfred.
Well, I think at this point,
Rob Manfred.
Yeah, I mean, at this point too, I think, I mean, at least me personally, like, I'm just over it. Like, I don't even care if they play anymore. Like, I feel like it's just been, like he said, dragged through the mud so much, and I don't think the product's going to be as good. It almost just feels futile at this point.
He's right, man. That week when when Rizzo was at the plate, I believe, and was like, I think a fastball's coming. Like, they could have had this national stage in the spotlight, and they have absolutely destroyed it.
That was all. That's what we did for our documentary. That is, if you have a player mic'd up and he can go direct communication to the commentators, it's just a whole different level of entertainment. I mean, it really, because you're getting an inside look. Now, granted, there's probably some players that won't like that because there's a lot of guys that talk to themselves and probably don't want to have people hear what they're saying to themselves. But man, that whole inside look on a sport that's been around for a long time that we had never seen before is beautiful. And that's why you can watch right now Pat McAfee, professional baseball player, live at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. The greatest comedic sports documentary in the history of comedic sports documentaries, what people have said.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. It's free.
Of all time.
We sold that thing for $3.33 at one point, $3.33 for my on-base percentage, as you just found out. But now it's free for everybody. YouTube.com. It was my first time ever playing baseball, legit, and I was playing from the wrong side of the plate, what I learned. Hour 2 kicks off on the other side for the radio folks. This is Wednesday, June 17th, the Pat McAfee Show. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we know. There's been Aunt Jemima, no more, can't do it. Uncle Ben's, I believe, can't do it. Chris D'Elia, can't do it.
Land of Lakes,
can't do it. Gundy's he's in a precarious situation right now. He's in the middle of answering that whole thing. Howard Stern, he's skating around right now. I don't know, those videos that I've been surfing this has been a big week. We're learning a lot about a lot of people, and we just got to keep moving forward and helping the people who haven't, fucking wrecked society. That seems to be a pretty fair move. Let's go to David in New York. What's going on, David?
Hey, Pat. How are you?
Not too shabby, David. How are you, bub?
Doing great. Wearing my For the Brand hoodie right now. Easily the most comfortable hoodie in all the land.
Oh, my God. Me too. Hey, me too, David. I appreciate you doing that. Thanks for spending money at our store. That means a lot.
So my question is, I'm a kicker right now going into my senior year of high school.
Let's go.
And my question for you is, how are you able to kind of keep the person that Pat McAfee is away from who he was on the field as a player? How you didn't let a bad pun or a missed kick kind of make you feel that you were a terrible person, especially when you had 70,000 people screaming at you?
No, I did, David. That is something, David. I appreciate your call. Good luck your senior year. I did. That's why I wanted to get good so bad, is because when I would perform bad, I'd be so mad. So that was actually like a motivator for me, a driver for me, David. Like people say you should have short-term memory and amnesia for bad. That's not how I operated. I wanted to remember something so much that it never happened again. I would get so mad and they'd be like, oh, you got to have short-term memory, don't remember. I'm like, no. I want to remember how I feel right now so I never feel it again. So if I ever think about maybe skipping a day or I'll remember that. So that was like a big motivator for me, to be honest, because of how pissed off I'd get at myself whenever I sucked, David. And the fact, by the way, that you have that inside of you, because not everybody does. There's a lot of people that stink and just are able to move on and not be mad about it. Tells me you're probably going to be good at something. If it's not kicker, you're probably going to be good at something because it means you care. I think sometimes people that not overreact, they get overreact or they're too emotional or things like that. I think it can be a benefit too if you use it right. I just think that is the way it goes. But I used to get so pissed. I'd be furious. We'd win a game. I'd be happy. Okay, we won, but I hit like 2 bad balls or whatever. Those next 5 days, it's just like that's all you think about. And that could be a little bit annoying. I understand that could be a little bit annoying, but then if you decide not to suck anymore, it just gets a lot happier life. A lot happier life. But geez, it stinks when you stink.
It worked out.
It did work out. It did. There's times here where we have a bad show or something, and I think about it literally until the next day. It's kind of it's annoying. It's like it's annoying. But I don't think I'm ever going to be able to change.
You know who else is like that?
Oh.
The Undertaker.
He's on a show tomorrow with
What?
Yeah, the Undertaker and I are on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. McAfee and Hawk and Undertaker. The Last Ride. This documentary on the Undertaker that's on WWE Network. Worth a watch. If you aren't a wrestling fan, just getting a chance to kind of for if you're not a big NBA fan, getting to watch Michael Jordan kind of do his thing, the behind the scenes stuff. Undertaker, by a lot of people's account, the greatest wrestler of all time, one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time, did it for a long time. And they have all this behind the scenes footage and it's awesome to see. It is really, really cool to see. Vince McMahon, a lot of Vince McMahon in there. I mean, it's really good shit. I'm happy they did that thing.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing watching that. Like, you knew he was dedicated to the craft, obviously, in the business, but the level and dedication he had in terms of his performance still to this day is next level.
Whole life was revolved around his each and every, and your happiness is a slave to your success. That's kind of like the thing. Once I got, I had like maybe a couple bad games and I got real high and I started thinking about it and I was like, my happiness is directly tied to how I do at something. And the first thought is, well, I shouldn't be that shallow of a person. I should get past it. Then I realized I wouldn't be able to. So I was like, well, I got to stop sucking then. That's what I have to do. And that's an interesting decision, probably an immature decision, but it was a motivator for me, David. I hope you can figure out to find the same thing. I got to go take a leak. We're back on the radio in like 45 seconds. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm not going to make it.
You'll be all right.
Good morning, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, June 17th. Hour 2 kicks off here. Woo! Great conversation in the first hour about NBA and the baseball and Jimmy G potentially knowing about Tom Brady becoming a 49er this past off season. Buster Olney joined us. He's been covering baseball since 1989 with the Nashville Sounders. Great personality. I assume that's why he's been around so long. Oh, yeah. He said that this is a much worse situation than it was in 1994 when they had a work stoppage and it was at rock bottom. He said this is worse just because the context of the world that it's in, that these two are fighting over money when the world is basically upside down. Get it figured out. Figure it out. Come on. That's what Buster Olney said. That's what Scott Van Pelt said the other night, too. He yelled at the camera and said, figure it out. I think he was echoing the sentiments that a lot of people have. It's like, hey, this can't be happening. He also told us that Rob Manfred, although probably is a stooge. He is just repeating what he has been told in financial committee meetings, in owners' meetings. So whenever he's out there talking, know that it's not him. Well, he's paid $25 million for me to think that it's him, and I'm going to keep it right on his ass. If he was a good unifier, if he was a good speaker, a good leader, a good problem solver, a good quick thinker, he maybe would have been able to figure this out with Tony Clark and the MLB owners to get this thing done, a la Adam Silver, what he's been able to accomplish, and with, by the way, Roger Goodell, as of late, not being as tone deaf of a person and kind of adjusting and trying to make the league a better one. I think the MLB, if they fail here, people are going to hate them for it, but I'm going to be honest when I say this. I have been much more interested in the business of baseball than the sport of baseball in my entire life than right now. I feel like I know the ins and outs of everything happening in baseball. I feel like I know the drivers. I feel like I know the people that are making decisions. And we got another answer from Buster Olney. He said that there is no owner amongst all the owners that could sit down other owners and say, hey, we're potentially ruining baseball. We should get that done. That's a nice little piece of information to have going forward, knowing that there's not a single person in there that'll be able to step up and say, hey, let's get this done. So who's it rely upon? Rob Manfred, which takes me back to the beginning of this thing. He is a stooge. Joining me, all the boys, at Nick Moraldo, at Tone Diggs, at Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, at Viva Lazitos, wearing his Portillo's hot dog hoodie. You love that place.
I love Portillo's.
You also like that lasagna pizza place.
Oh, come on. Giordano's.
Giordano's.
Oh, yeah.
Giordano's.
Oh, yeah.
Giordano's. Thin crust Giordano's. Very, very
I don't know
good.
what it is. Do you like cold pizza at all?
Yeah, I'll eat some cold pizza.
That pizza cold, I don't know what it is.
Thin crust or the lasagna?
Both. Like the
Can't do
thin crust is
lasagna.
amazing.
You get too much sauce.
You said you love the taste, though.
No, I did not. I did not say it.
Didn't say
that.
Was that off the record when you told me that?
No, never said it. You were actually there with me whenever I showed up. I tried to eat it.
You did tell the waiter, like, get this out.
Get this out of my. This is not a pizza.
And then you got a thin, you were like, oh,
this is the pizza. The thin crust pizza, Giordano's, might be. I'm not going to say it.
No, go ahead. Say it.
That might have been the best thin crust pizza I've ever had.
Wow.
That might have been the best. But that Chicago-style lasagna pizza might be the worst pizza. So it's kind of like a...
I can't remember. What do you hate? You hate sauce.
I don't like when things shoot out of things and burn my mouth.
I give you that. Okay.
So I don't like when I bite into something that has, like pizza, for instance, or lasagna, and you take a bite and it squirts out and burns the mouth. For whatever reason, that is a worse feeling than anything could taste in my eyes. That's why I don't do a lot of sauces. You won't see me mess around with soup at all. Like, I am not a soup guy until it gets cold. And that Giordano's pizza basically lives off of that. Like, hey, that should be their motto. Hey, come burn the living out of your mouth. That should be what they say. But the thin crust pizza was next level, and the Portillo's hot dogs also next level.
Very, very good. Thank you.
Chicago has provided a lot of good things. Ditka.
Oh, yeah.
Portillo's.
Oh, yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, come on.
Oh, so you're out on
I just enjoy saying I have a Super Bowl winning quarterback now.
Nick Foles.
Yeah. I love saying that.
That's your quarterback now, Nick Foles? You've turned your back completely on Mitchell Trubisky?
No, he said it's his team right now, so I don't know. I can't wait to see his competition's going to happen.
Mitchell Trubisky came out and said it's my team?
He did say that, yeah.
Well, that's not what I've been told. I've been told that is a fair competition, Mitchell. I'm excited to see 2 years ago.
Oh, so good.
Overall 3 QBR or whatever.
Yeah.
Bears are back. Chicago's back. Monsters of the Midway. We're back. Here we go. Bear Don. Bringing Khalil Mack. Oh, my God.
Can't wait.
And then he forgot how to play quarterback.
Well, I mean, was it that? I mean, Kyle Long came out the other day. Maybe someone else is responsible for Mr.
Kyle
Trubisky.
Long has come out and said that he and the current Bears staff were not the biggest fans of each other, I believe is what he said.
Yeah.
Kyle Long, Pro Bowl offensive lineman for the Chicago Bears. Amazing athlete. He's becoming a great golfer.
Oh, I know.
He has picked up the game of golf. Now, I find it very hard to believe that he had not got into golf before. And no offense, Kyle Long, but he comes from a very successful family. Normally, golf does happen in there. But Kyle Long was a baseball player, did his own thing. He's a blue-collar guy still, though. But his golf game, if his videos are accurate of how he's hitting the ball on a regular basis, Kyle Long might be a professional golfer here before too long.
I hope he does.
Smooth swing.
Smooth swing, and he's a monster.
Yeah, how far does he hit the ball?
He's a monster of a man. He's slim too. I don't know how he's so slim. He's been that way even at offensive line.
He slimmed out a lot more too, obviously.
If I know Kyle Long's story correctly, he could have been a professional baseball player, got into some trouble, just decided to go to Oregon Ducks football team, then gets drafted first round offensive lineman. Here we go, Pro Bowler off and running. Just decided had to pick it up. So him just picking up a sport and becoming a Pro Bowler in it is something that he has done before. Yeah. What if golf is the next thing? And he seems like he's got the bug, too. He's out there every single day hitting the ball.
I remember one time you talked about, was it Bradley Sowell, that amazing golfer?
Yeah, Bradley Sowell, offensive lineman for the Bears. He get transferred over to tight end. He hits that thing like 330, got great hands. I told him, he was on the Colts. We caught him. He was on practice squad. He was kind of like a tweener there for us, a swing tackle, and then he went over to the Cardinals and with Bears. So he's been around a little bit. Yeah. But when he was with the Colts, and we'd probably cut him for like the fourth time because you go from practice squad. Then if somebody gets hurt, you come up as a swing tackle, and then you get cut again. He maybe got cut like 3-4 times in one season. And I was golfing with him. He's unbelievable. I was like, hey, listen, man. Like, could you imagine if you're on practice squad of an NFL team and somehow you jam your wrist in your golf game that could make you $50 million gets affected? Like, why are you doing? Oh, I love football, man. I'll play golf later. I'm like, I just don't know if that's the proper business decision. Then a couple years later, he's catching touchdowns for the Chicago Bears. I'm like, well, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Hands are still good. But there's some guys in the NFL, I think, that if they were to focus on golf, they would get very good at it because it's very much a craft, like a dial in on something and move forward. But there's a lot of guys in the NFL, too, that suck at golf. And I happen to fall into that category as of now. Wait till my ass is 50. Just sunburnt to hell and back. Mm-hmm. My putting stroke is going to be next level. And when I'm walking out there barefooted in jorts because I got so much money, the golf course can't tell me nothing, I might be good at that point. And maybe the senior PGA is where I'll head. Me and John Daly would be bombing balls together. Awesome. Adam and Foxy's here. Last night, a replay on the NHL Network was shown of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Detroit Red Wings, Game 7 Stanley Cup matchup. And the team that walked out of Hockey Town as the Stanley Cup champions from Hockey Time, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pat, don't you think Detroit's been through enough? The Red Wings stink, the Pistons stink, the Lions stink. I mean, did you really have to bring that up from, what, 09?
Listen, don't blame me, blame NHL Network. I like anytime we just start showing things in the past that make me happy and make Detroit sad. But that just last night was the icing on the cake. I was trying to learn what was going on with the NBA as I was flipping through the little switcher thing, the guide thing. I'm like, what's comes on until Scott Van Pelt comes on because I've been watching that late night because that feels like that's a good collection of everything that happened. All of a sudden, I see 2009 Stanley Cup Game 7, Pittsburgh Penguins at Detroit Red Wings. I'm like, well, we're definitely going to turn this on. Then I did a little research to see how much we won by, right? Because I'm a big hockey guy, obviously, but if we lose that game, I'm not going to say a word here, obviously. See that we win. Thanks, Nick. Then I sent out a tweet, hey, Foxy, why don't we go ahead and take a little trip down memory lane back whenever the Red Wings were in the Stanley Cup final. Like, that is something that I tried to tell you. It's like, hey, think about back whenever the Red Wings were good at hockey. Think about when Detroit was on the top of the mountain there for a little bit. I was trying to tell you to look at the times that were good. I'm not talking about the Penguins winning another Stanley Cup and Sidney Crosby being like a 14-year-old captain holding the thing over his head and only getting better since then. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about look where Detroit was in 2009 and look where you could possibly get back to here starting in 2020 when you guys have a top 5 pick in all 4 major sports.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, Stevie Wyatt, the GM, Detroit Red Wings will be back. Hockey Town will be back, but I did not turn that game on.
That was David slaying Goliath there.
Yeah.
That was the sweetest part about it was back then all the Detroit fans saying, we'll never have to tank to get good like the Penguins did. We'll never have to get top picks to be good.
You want to know why?
And here we are. Here we are 11 years later, and they're not even trying. They're just tanking on, not even on purpose.
Do you want to know why we're Hockey Town, though? We were historically having the worst season in NHL history. Still 3rd in attendance at our games.
Well, see, a lot of people would say you guys are enablers. That's what a lot of people would say. You're an enabler.
Dedicated, loyal, bored, best fans in the league.
What else do you got to do?
Bored. Go to Greektown, okay, go to the casino that is very giving, and then what else are you going to do? Okay, let me stop by the Red Wings game because it's warm. It's cold as hell up here. At least it's inside. And then we'll watch our team stink at hockey. That is what Hockey Town.
You guys have fun with your little COVID Cup thing, all right? We'll worry about Stanley Cups next season.
Oh, speaking of Lord Stanley, let's hope he doesn't get COVID-19 because he's going to be bouncing around Pittsburgh in a couple months. At Boston Connor's on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. Had a couple good callers today. Connor, how do you feel like you're performing?
I don't know if we had a couple good callers. We had a couple callers today. I would have liked a little more juice, but I can't jump through the phone and give it to him.
Which one do you think we should go to right now? Jeff in Chicago? Jeff, what do you want?
That wasn't going to...
Oh, you think Jeff's going to be a bad call?
Well, Chris in Boston has an all-time voice. The guy's a weapon.
Well, is that because he's from Boston? It seems like you just want somebody that sounds like you. Are you judging this
No,
guy?
not at all.
Are you?
No.
We are in a society now where judgment is supposed to be.
Absolutely. I would never do that. I'm a big Jeff fan. But with that being said, Chris is probably the better call.
Hey, Jeff in Chicago, what's going on?
Hey, Pat. Sorry I didn't bring the energy over to Connor, but yeah, I mean, I watch this show every day, so I'm so excited that you.
Yeah, love this guy. Love this guy,
Which
Jeff.
I told him.
Jeff, why don't
Which
you,
I told him.
Jeff, I wish you would come in, and maybe answer calls for us instead of this guy who judged you before even hearing you really speak.
Oh man, I would love to come in. There's so many things to talk about.
Get that.
See you later, guys.
So I'm from Chicago, but I was actually I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan just because that's where I was born, and that's the team that my dad watched. So one of the questions I have is that I'm watching this Cowboys news every day. One of the things I just kind of got to is I don't know. Do you see a peaceful resolvement of how they can get this Dak deal done? Because it does seem like it got to the point that even if they do sign Dak at this point, that even if they give him the contract that he wants, that because of the negotiations and everything that has happened, will they, is there a way that you think everyone will be happy?
Yeah, as soon as that deal gets done, everything that was said before that is kind of forgotten because they both come to a very, very wealthy agreement with each other. I think it is a very interesting situation that has seemed to have, brought the swords out more as opposed to put the swords away. But by all accounts, all information, both sides have said, wait until about a week before this franchise tag has to be signed, because whenever that takes place, that is when the negotiations will always happen. Michael Lombardi told us a story about how whenever you go and try to do business in another country, I forget what it was, maybe Japan or China or something like that, he said they don't start negotiating with you until about an hour before you have to leave for your flight to take off. And that is not a business move that they use. That is a business move that a lot of people use, because then there's a shot clock. Then they know that there's a point of desperation. And I think both sides are going to use that franchise tag designation time, which I think is July 17th. Oh, man, there are so many dates in July. I hope I got there. If I just pulled that one out of my ass, I'm going to be very pumped.
I'm looking.
Oh, no. So
15 to 17, maybe in that range.
I don't know. I think it's 17, I think is what it is. There's a lot of dates.
July 15th.
Ah, son of a... And Price is right. I overshot it. But by July 15th, by July 8th, when the MLS comes back with their 54-game tournament, let's assume that last week there, while the MLS players are locked in their hotel rooms, playing games, locked in their hotel rooms, playing games, locked in their hotel rooms, Dak Prescott's team and the Dallas Cowboys team are going to try their best to get something done. They said there hasn't been a lot of conversation, to be honest, between both of them. They're going to kind of wait, I think, until push comes to shove. And if a deal gets done, all the BS of the past will be forgotten. This is Dak Prescott's team. Let's move forward and try to win some games. Jerry Jones said his hands don't get cramps writing checks. And I think July 8th, that final week before Dak Prescott has to sign his franchise tag, we're going to learn a lot about that statement. You already signed Zeke. You already signed Andy Dalton. Mm-hmm. You already signed Amari Cooper. You already signed Jalen Smith. You already signed offensive linemen. You've already signed a lot of people. Now will you be able to get the Dak deal done? Everybody thinks nothing's going to happen until that final week before franchise tag, and I fall in that same boat because neither are motivated to get the job done at the current time. Now, I took a lot of pride in our show being the only show that didn't talk about Dak's deal every single day. So the fact that we just talked about it for the first time in a couple of weeks, I'm a little bit bummed about. I was going to see how long we could go. Mm-hmm. But when somebody calls in and asks a question, we have to give them the answer because we're a sports show.
Yeah, it's not
for the people.
Do you think Zeke getting COVID-19 impacts anything in any way?
I think Zeke's medical information getting leaked impacts more than Zeke getting COVID-19. I said this yesterday off air. I feel like we're just going to have to get to a point where we understand that people are going to get COVID-19. Yep. I think a couple months ago, whenever somebody got COVID-19, it was a big deal. It was almost like you were alienated from society. You were judged. I think we're going to get to a point where it's like, okay, they got COVID-19. Let's handle it. We know the precautions. Let's take care of it and let's move on. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal. Public, no. What would that be called? Like society, socially. I don't think it'll be as big of a deal socially as it was or is right now, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that get COVID-19. Mm-hmm. I think as we continue to open up, I think the stats are showing that. I think the tests are showing that. The more tests we have, obviously, the more cases we're going to get. But I think we're going to become a place that's just like, yeah, COVID-19 happens, and we're just going to have to feel figure out how the long-term effects are, because every other Twitter thread you read about it, you're like, oh, I'm dead. Oh, okay, I'm not. Oh, I'm going to die. Oh, I'm not too. Oh, I'm going to. I think once we figure that out, I think we'll be much more likely to figure out how everybody's going to view this. But I think more people are going to get COVID-19 than we think.
Well, once we get to a vaccine, too, it kind of changes the whole game of the
Yeah,
COVID
but who
as
knows
well.
when that's going to be. I guess
If that happens.
Oxford potentially has one in the pipeline.
Oxford.
But UPMC allegedly had one there for a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of places that have allegedly had a potential vaccine. But then there's a lot more questions behind that.
Yeah, does it work?
I mean, there's a full... We got to get to a break. There is a full conversation behind the vaccines if you go down and write Twitter threads as well.
Yeah.
I mean, who... Can't trust anything.
No,
you can't.
You can't.
The
Trust
NBA,
yourself.
The NBA players, when they get tested, they're going to get a band on their wrist. Some NBA players say, oh, they're going to use that to track where we're at and where we're going. But that's a valid question with the world that we're currently in. It's insane.
Also-
Can't trust anything, Foxy. Like Foxy, for instance, Foxy one time hopped on an escalator that took him out of an airport, okay? Can't trust the escalator. I was on an escalator right next to him. He gets on the one that takes him up 4 more floors and out of the airport. I went right to our gate. Foxy can't trust that escalator. Can't trust anything anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why they built that like that, but for the NBA
Well, it's because when a booze bag shows up, fresh off a vacation to a tropical island, and has no idea what's going on, and left his brain in the island.
Yeah, might be there still.
You had an Emmett week. You had a full mullet mitt week. Maybe it was 2 weeks that whole run that he was in. Do you remember that?
We're back though.
Evan
We're
McMahon.
back.
Yeah, but we all know that it's in there. Mullet mitt. You take a lot of heat for being like a drunk idiot, you know.
Yes.
But there was a time where Foxy had a 2 to 3 week run where I thought we lost him forever. I thought there was a chance we had the dumbest human on earth working for us. And then I was like, well, what do we do? This guy has already done so much for a company. Can't just abandon him now. But he's become a full-blown idiot. And then something happened. He came back. It was great to see. But we know that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
We know that that's in there. So.
I know. We're past that. I'm older now. I'm more mature
curse.
now.
Oh, okay.
But how are these NBA guys going to be locked down, some of them till October, and then see the NFL open wide open and be traveling and all that? Like, that makes no sense. None of it makes sense is what I'm getting
Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't play doubles ping pong, but you can go in the pool together. You can't. You
Can't play chicken though.
Cannot sit on each other's shoulders either. You cannot do that in the pool. They will have a hotline too, and that lifeguard will call that son of a bitch if they see anybody on anybody's banana boats or shoulders. Not up in here. Not up in here. Not up in here. Not up in here.
And then virtually 1 month later, they want to start the new season. Is the new season going to be in the bubble, or is it going to be wide open?
And are they only going to play 1-on-1 down there, or are they going to play 5-on-5 basketball? Because there's a chance that there's people that could be playing doubles ping pong against each other. Could be running picks. Could be running picks for each other. So are they not playing basketball? None of it makes sense. Welcome to 2020. It's Wednesday, June 17th. 42 minutes left in this particular show. We were supposed to have Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher had something pop up right before the show started. I assume that involves a current situation happening with his Heisman potential candidate quarterback coming out about a statue that he would like to see disappear from the Texas A&M campus. I was excited for our conversation with Jimbo Fisher. Got to meet him once. I assume he will come back on at some point and talk. He's had a lot of success, but college football is in the middle of a lot of conversations right now as well. We had a guy call from Penn State in the first hour and said, college football's probably coming back. That guy was a good combo. He's probably going to get a good degree. He's going to be smart. Yeah. But we can't tell you anything at this point because nobody knows a damn thing. Wednesday, June 17th, we're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Oh, shit. Hey, Steven, fuck you.
And it is off the wall.
Don't cut. This is a good at bat. Hey, nice pitch. I think I just pulled a hammy. Hey. Back. Hey, fuck you, Steven. What inning?
Top of the second.
Jesus.
Here comes McAfee.
I saw that thing jumping out of the glove. Hey. What was that? Would have been nice to take a nap earlier.
Another throw
Get back.
first. He's going back on it now. Coming over the center fielder. Harris makes the catch.
Cousin. James. What was that? And the catcher goes, I had to give you one.
1-1 pitch.
Let's go.
Line drive right
Son of a
at the
bitch. This is a good at bat. Oh, shit. In my head, it was like, oh, yeah, you're going to drop this for sure. What the fuck are you even doing here? Why did we sign up for this? What's going on? It all comes down to this. My last at-bat. Hey, I'm going to get on. You bring me home.
This is your life on the line, fucker.
Let me tell you something. You're going to take an L, okay? You're going to take one. So I think that the close your eyes and swing method is perfect for you.
Oh, this is hardball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Jesus. You have no prayer.
All right. Number one, right fielder, McAfee.
Oh, boy.
McAfee at the plate.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down, I'm the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's frown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Leave the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Crack a fist, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. What? Expected?
Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, and you already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands you know.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
And their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet. 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit.
Wow.
Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable that they're perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems. You've heard us talk about how the company was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, Melissa Etheridge, Brandy, and J.R. Smith are obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to see what the hype's all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Pat. That's buyraycon.com/Pat for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buyraycon.com/Pat.
Thank you, Raycon. Shout out to those earbuds. Okay. I use them when I work out. Speaking of workout, I've been hitting 100 floors on that Stairmaster on a very regular occasion.
Jeez.
Okay?
How?
100 floors, just running up those things. I'm going for 150 tonight, I think.
How fast is it going?
Man.
Well, see, the issue is I haven't found out the intensity level with the timing yet properly.
Okay.
So you set I'm a time guy. I'm going to do 30 minutes, okay? So then it tells you, do you want to do a calorie burner, a manual workout? I'm doing the fat burner workout because the fat burner workout has less peaks. It's more like hell yeah. So I haven't been able to figure out the intensity level with the timing level with the fat burner yet to figure out exactly. So at the end, for the last, to get to the 100 floors, the last 3 minutes, I have to turn that thing all the way up to the top. So at the end, I am sprinting upstairs while just holding on for my dear life. That's why every video you see me post of it is I'm beating the clock by 3 seconds because I'm barely getting there. I think I'm going to go for 150 today.
Can you skip stairs on that thing?
I think I'm going to, no, you can't. But the thing about the Stairmaster is there's a unwritten rule book between you and a Stairmaster. Okay, a lot of people, there's probably some people who have rules that you can't use your hands too much to hold you up. My rule with the Stairmaster is, listen, I'm just not going to let this son of a bitch beat me. Okay, if I have to hold myself up for 5-6 floors in the middle of that thing, I'm going to do it.
So be it.
The rails are there for me to do it. If I'm going to turn around and walk backwards for a couple of floors, I'm going to do that. If I need to do it sideways, I'm going to do it. It's just me and the Stairmaster. Don't touch the ground until you get the job done. And that's why that place, the Stairmaster, is a known punishment by all college football places. It's hey, just don't get off however you need to be on top of here, as long as it involves you still stepping on stairs, just get the job done. I think I'm going for 150 maybe today or tomorrow.
Actually, it's really good for you to do backward and sideways. It's working out your entire leg.
Yeah, bingo, especially with this calf problem that I had yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
Calf problem yesterday. I was trying to get for 100 floors. At about floor 47, just got this big old cramp. I'm like, wait a minute, did I just rip my calf off of my leg? Well, I'm not stopping. So I get to 100 floors, I get off, and it just feels like I have a cramp. Yesterday, I was limping around. Then, by the way, about floor 40 yesterday, cramp kicked off. So live by the Stairmaster, die by the Stairmaster, and it's been paying off. I can't do the assault bike that people do. Okay, I can't do the Peloton. I have a Peloton. I did a little run with the Peloton because my grundle, I can't handle the thing. They say that there's padded shorts you can wear. My legs are going to be tough to fit those in, and you never get the grundle positioning correctly. And then when you get in there and you start going, I just get Tim McAfee, big cyclist back in the day triathlon. I've never been able to do it.
Ticket.
Strictly, yeah, he was going 55 in a park. He got a speeding ticket, but he also almost died one day at a race. He came walking down the street, clack, 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 with a bike over his one shoulder and his disintegrated helmet in his other hand. And there had been a call that one cyclist has met a tree over the loudspeaker. Turns out that was Tim McAfee. And Sally McAfee did not let him do any more races after that. So rest in peace to that career because he almost had to die behind a tree. But Tim McAfee, big cyclist, I can't get into it strictly because my grundle's too weak. Can't do it. But this Stairmaster is
I bought the padded pants. They make a little difference, but not enough too.
Yeah, I need a full padded. I need a hammock under there that I'm sitting on. If Peloton comes out with a hammock seat like my Harley has, then I'll get on that Psalm and I will pedal my ass off.
Good for you for almost tearing your calf climbing the Stairmaster and then saying, you know what? Let's go to 150. 100's not enough.
Got to do it. Got to do it. You're either getting better or getting worse. What is it? And right now, I'm in a point with my brain where I'm focused on fitness. This does not happen a lot. Everybody that's been around me knows that these things come and go. Pizza will beat me at some point, but at this point, I am fully focused on not being a fat ass because of the body shaming that happened in the YouTube comment section.
They're ruthless.
Yep. Body shaming. Everybody calling me fat on the internet.
Disgusting. Your people, Mitt.
Unbelievable. It was your people, Mitt.
Mitt. Boost bag.
There was a bunch of booze bags in there calling me fat.
He can't even respond. He's so damn drunk on that couch.
Yeah, so damn drunk. There is a lot of things to bet on when it comes to overseas. The AFL, tomorrow morning, 5:40 a.m., the Richmond Tigers and the Hawthorne Hawks will take each other on. Both had a little bit of a rough outing in their first game of round 2, but it will be back. It'll be electrifying. I recommend you watch it tomorrow while you wake up and drink your coffee. It is mesmerizing to watch. The sport, Sharon! It is a beautiful one. Also, there's a lot of soccer. And to come on and tell us who we should bet on in the soccer world is a man who's currently locked in Canada because of the quarantine. Ladies and gentlemen, because he's locked in Canada, his locks on soccer, our friend Gumpy.
Hey, pal. I'm locked in Canada, so here's some of my locks.
Let's go, Gumpy! Let's go, Gumpy!
No, Gumpy.
Jay.
Jay's muting people again.
Jay, Gumpy, what you say, pal?
Premier League is back today, fellas.
Who are we betting on? What is the Premier League? Is the Premier League the English?
Yeah.
English Premier League.
And then there's a Champions League, and then there's a this league. There's
Europe
a
League.
Well, that's
We got Premier League, Spanish League, and German League all today. Premier League, you go ahead and hammer Sheffield United.
Okay.
Money line plus 120. They're 7th in the table. Aston Villa's 19th. They won 3 of 4 before the break, and they hadn't lost in 6 games.
What did we learn from the Bundesliga about the break? Did that matter, or were the teams that were hot before the break were hot after the break? Does anything matter before the break?
The only thing we're seeing is the home field advantage is completely gone in the Bundesliga. It doesn't mean a damn thing.
Oh, because the blow-up dolls that are in the crowd aren't making enough noise. Because remember, the Korean baseball team, they had all those dolls saying, but they didn't have any clothes on. So that was the problem.
Naked.
You got to wear clothes. Yeah, because they were fornicate dolls. Sorry about that, Comfy. What else? So we're hammering Sheffield United at plus 120 because you like the way they played before.
I love that one. They're a good squad. Villa hasn't been good at all. We'll go to La Liga. Atletico Madrid, money line, minus 125. They've lost 1 of their last 8, and Osasuna's an 11, so that's good money line value there.
Who am I betting on? La Liga Atletico?
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid money line. Okay.
And then we'll go to the Bundesliga, Frankfurt money line. They've won 3 of 4. They've only lost 1 in 5. And Schalke hasn't won since they've returned from this layoff.
The Wichita State?
You got it, pal.
The Shockers? Oh, yeah. That was a great hat back in the day. What were some other ones? It was the Wichita State Shockers. There was also the...
great Coastal Carolina hat.
Those hats. Those
Long Beach State was the dirtbags.
Yeah. And then there was always like the White Sox hat that you take out the one part and it said sex on it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So Schalke, Atletico Madrid.
No, Frankfurt. Frankfurt over Schalke.
Jesus. Frankfurt.
Good to know.
Frankfurt, good airport. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Airport. Just
all time.
Just all the mitts that you could possibly
paradise.
need. Yeah, Mitts Paradise, Frankfurt Airport. Frankfurt, Athletic Madrid, Sheffield United.
You got it, pal. There's an option on FanDuel, draw no bet in soccer.
Yeah.
You can take a team, and if they draw, you get your money back. I would take Atletico Bilbao on that at minus 130 as well.
Atletico Madrid and Atletico Bilbao are 2 different teams, yeah?
You got it, pal.
Atletico Bilbao probably tie. Okay, draw. Okay, got it. How are you? Why'd you shave your beard? That thing was becoming glorious. People were talking about how good your beard was. I was thinking about maybe even entering you into the beard competition, the ones that I've seen on the internet where people put entire 6-packs in their beard because your beard, the Canadian beauty that it was growing in perfect fashion, and then you said, nah, I'm going to cut it.
A lot of grays in there, Pat. It was getting a little worrisome.
Distinguished.
Just for
Who
men.
cares? Look, I got some as well.
It's distinguished.
Who cares? Gumpy?
It'll come back.
Hey, what's up with Cristiano Ronaldo missing PKs and Messi burying them, pal? Is Cristiano Ronaldo cold after the quarantine? He's been counting too many billions? Is that what Cristiano Ronaldo's been doing?
Messi was flying yesterday, too. He drew a penalty. That guy literally football tackled him. Barcelona is all the way back after this layoff. They haven't missed a beat.
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Have you ever been to Barcelona?
Never.
I've been to Barcelona. I took a tour around Barcelona.
How is Barcelona?
Well, there's a church in Barcelona that has been being rebuilt for probably 100 years. I saw no less than 7,000 homeless people outside of it, but once you get inside there, beautiful, beautiful culture over there.
Good restaurants in Barcelona?
Oh, yeah. Barcelona, yeah, they have good food. They have that
barbecue.
That style. What was that, Zito?
I was trying to do with barbecue, but could not do it. Barbecue.
Well, it would be barbecue is how it would be because the C is pronounced as a th. Yeah, but you were close. Not a bad go there. But Barcelona, you're saying, is potentially going to win this entire thing. They're in La Liga?
Yeah, they won 2-0 yesterday, covered yesterday. They're getting good value this weekend at minus 125. We'll touch on that later in
Does
the week.
anybody care? How are the soccer numbers? I've heard that the soccer numbers are up for Bundesliga. I've heard the soccer numbers are probably going to be up for the Premier League. Are people just giving sports a chance that they wouldn't normally give a chance because sports haven't happened for so long, you think, Gump?
It's wild right now. Liverpool has a chance to win their first league in 30 years in the next couple weeks. They were talking about not letting them play even at their home stadium because they know the fans are just going to show up outside the stadium and go nuts.
Oh, you never walk alone.
It's happening, pal. They said the world was going to end before we'd get another one, but here we are.
No, we are not there yet. Dumpy, we are not there yet. Do not count your chickens before they hatch. Let's get that beard back. Don't you worry about the grays. Ronaldinho, he still plays soccer? No.
That's a good tarp there. Pele and Ronaldinho, two of the Brazilian greats.
So there was a contest that was a tarp. Huh? It was a good tarp. When I was a child, teenager, I went to like a penalty kick contest. It was held by the Elks Lodge. Okay.
Oh, the Elks.
I go to the I go to the big championship or whatever. First place, you get an autograph ball by Pele. Okay.
Wow.
And for those that don't know, Pele's autograph, literally, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it.
They made a movie about it.
I just did Pele's autograph. I don't know if you could see that. It's literally the most easily forgeable autograph. There it is. Pele signed my paper right there. That was what the autograph looked like on the soccer ball. So it was either you win a Pele signed soccer ball or you win this trophy that's bigger than any trophy Jason McAfee had in second place. So it was pretty hard to get me off of second place there. Just as a teenager. Yeah, there it is. That's
good signature.
I just found Pele's signature. I was like, well, I told my parents, I'm like, it'd be cool to win, I guess, but I feel like we can make any soccer ball signed by Pele if we really wanted to. But we could just win a trophy that was, I think it was like 4 feet tall or whatever, barely fit in the car on the way home, had to strap it to the roof.
Little circle on that autograph, too. I remember
nice.
one of Pele's buddies who, fake one,
goal?
who, you just put a circle on
Yeah,
there
we do not know if that is a real Pele autograph or not. We will never, ever, ever know. What's up, Tiggs?
It was announced Champions League is coming back in August, too, so that's big news.
So Champions League is the top of all the other leagues, and then they get to play in a Super League.
Yeah, top 4 of all the leagues come together to play in a tournament.
So that one means much more than all the other ones.
Yes.
Best team in the world, best club team in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think the MLS are going to have something to say about that come July 8th.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our friend from Canada who is currently locked down, in doing so, he shaved one of the best beards I've ever seen. That's a poor decision, but the guy's been on house arrest for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend Gumpy.
I'm locked in Canada, so here's some of my locks.
Okay, so Sheffield United at plus 120, Atletico Madrid money line, and Frankfurt money line. And if you want to get crazy, Atletico Bell Bill for the draw or the tie on FanDuel. 37 minutes after the hour, we have to get to a break? No.
We have one more.
So we have to get to a break. I mean, how much can we talk about the NBA and the MLB being a battle? We'll be back with more MLB and NBA on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. All right. Every once in a while, we are at 812,000 subscribers. We are on the road to 1 million. We have a massive, our biggest giveaway yet. And remember, I've given away an Escalade before.
Yep.
I've given away a lot of things. Our biggest giveaway to date, whenever we get to 1 million subscribers, for subscribers of ours, because we are so thankful that you choose to spend some of your fucking day with us. You don't have to. The fact that you do, we are very, very, very thankful. We would never, at one point, not too distant history here, we were trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. Then we kind of dialed in and said, hey, we're going to go all in on YouTube. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go all in on YouTube. We think that it is a good community. We think we can get good reach. And there's no fucking rules. Nobody's going to tell us anything. So here we are at 812,000 followers or subscribers. Can't wait to get to 1 million. Massive giveaway when we do that. And every once in a while on YouTube, we like to dive deep into the body shaming of me comment section and do some YouTube questions.
YouTube question.
What do we got, Zito?
Coming from Genna Grinch. GENNEHRING1.
You read that very quickly. Do not.
Genna Grinch, yeah.
Genna Grinch?
You got it.
One.
Genna Grinch.
10 points. Can we get an update on Vel the dog?
Great question. Thanks for the question.
Yep.
Valerie, my dog, is a half pit bull, half Shar-Pei, 6 or 7 years, 6 maybe 7. I'm not 100% sure of her exact age. Sam, my fiance, found her whenever she was at the shelter 1 week away from being put down. Okay, so 1 week away. She was on death row at the time. She was a very quiet dog. She was back in the corner. Sam went to the shelter and was walking through the cages or whatever. Val got up, walked over to her, didn't bark, just gave her like a little nose lick of her hand. Sam goes outside. They hang out for a little bit. Val, best dog on earth, becomes my lady's dog, okay? So then when Sam and I got together, Sam was a little bit hesitant to move into the house, obviously, so then she moves in. Then she had the house and her own apartment where she had her animals at. So she tried to, like, introduce these animals slowly into my house, right? Because she probably didn't know how everything was going to go. The first animal she brought over was this Val creature, and I fell in love with this dog, I think, day one. This dog, coolest dog on earth. She was a dog that you should always rescue a dog, by the way, if you have the chance, or a cat or whatever, rescue an animal, because she knows, for some reason, she knows that she was 1 week away from being killed. Like, I honestly believe that she knows that Sam saved her life, and then I obviously came in there to make her life a little bit better, more treats and things. Like, she is very thankful and grateful, so I have fallen completely in love with this dog. Then we get another dog named Chuck, who's a corgi. And this was after a law-abiding contract was signed by my fiance that we will not bring any more animals into the house because we already had 7 pets at this time. So Chuck comes into the house, and Chuck and Val, obviously there's a little bit of beef, but here in the last month and a half or so, it felt like Valerie was really starting to hate this fucking dog. And I, in turn, was like, okay, Valerie's my ride or die bitch. I hate you as well. If she hates you for some reason, I hate you as well. That's going to be my dog. Turned out Valerie, the reason why she was so tired, the reason why she was so down is she had a cancer lump right on the back of her head, and it was draining her without us knowing it. So I thought she was just sick and tired of this dog, Chuck. She was kind of mad about her life for whatever reason. She became a completely different dog. Sam takes her to the vet. They find out she has cancer. We're supposed to have surgery on her in 2 weeks. The vet calls and says, hey, a surgery is opened up tomorrow. Do you want to get in there? So it was like a fast turnaround, like, hey, she's going to have cancer surgery tomorrow, take a lump off the back of her head. She gets the surgery successfully done. She has a cone on there now, a 6-inch incision with 10 staples in there. We have to rest her for 10 days, but she is all the way back. She's not the sad dog, the tired dog. She is all the way back from before that. I would assume that the cancer was draining her and making her tired. Now she's all the way back. I think she's going to live forever, and I hope she does, because I wouldn't be able to live if she doesn't, because having to look her in the eyes the night before the surgery and just give her hey girl, I need you to go in there and I can't be losing you tomorrow. And she's come back much better, but she hates that fucking cone and it's going to be a long 10 days here. But thanks for asking. Valerie's good. Mom's good. The house is good. I did see a fox eat a baby rabbit outside. But everything else at the zoo is going fine. Thanks for asking. Appreciate that immensely. That's been YouTube questions.
YouTube questions. If you're listening to the show right now, I want you to take a second and look down. When was the last time you shaved your junk?
When was the last time you shaved your junk?
May 5th. It's been a while. Don't lie. Let's take a second.
Has been.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo, huh? You just went down there and went to town.
Oh, yeah.
I respect it. I respect it.
Let's take a second to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for holding you accountable to get rid of the funk and shaving the junk. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 Essential Kit. The perfect tools for the family.
Jules.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it was just me, but you're right.
Oh.
No, it's all right. I was on your side. Everybody else kind of turned against you there.
Yeah. Turned against me.
They did.
You know what I mean?
Tables have turned, though.
Oh, turntables.
Oh, yeah. When you purchase the new...
No, it's just turntable.
When you purchase the new Perfect Package 3.0 Manscaped.com, you get the biggest bang for your buck. Subscribers get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered. For a limited time, subscribers get not 1, but 2 free gifts. The Shed Travel Bag, it's a $39 value, add it, and the Pen and High Performance Anti-Shaving Manscaped Boxer Briefs.
Jesus.
What happened?
Nothing.
Oh. Get 20% off plus free shipping. Oh, I already read that. Call to action.
Yeah, CTA. Yep,
Here we go.
You got it. Yep. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code America at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com and use code America. Your partner, your body, and your balls will thank you.
Attaboy!
Thank you, guys.
You did great in there.
I know.
I mean, there was a couple words he missed and things like that, but I mean, it was just I just got a tweet from @WrestlingPanda. My dog is coming out of surgery. I just told the story during the break on YouTube. So if you're coming back for radio, I gave an update on my dog Valerie, who just had cancer surgery. She had a lump on the back of her head. She is good. She is back, but she hates the cone. It is a tough time to handle a half pit bull, half Shar-Pei dog who is a tomboy by nature and now has all the energy back because she no longer has cancer draining her energy from the back of her head, but having to tell her like, hey, you're not allowed to move too much because it's going to bust open the thing. You got to relax. It's been tough. The cone thing is not good. @Wrestling Panda tweets me, if Val can't stand the cone, check out the inflatable donut collars. Our dogs can't stand the lampshade cones, but don't mind the inflatable donut collar gimmick at all.
There you go.
Maybe make a move to that. But the issue is the inflatable thing goes right on the skin. Her stitches are right there. It's like a very inopportune place for her stitches. It's been tough.
When my dog had surgery, we got it. There's actually onesies, so it doesn't have to wear the cone, but it won't work for the head of yours. So
yeah, it's right in the spot, too, by the way, that you scratch. It's like right behind the ear. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough.
Cone might be the only.
Sam built this little glass box for her to go into. It has a bed in there. There's pictures of her family in there. She has like her own little apartment. But Valerie has learned how to use her cone to make the most amount of noise possible. She will hit that thing off of the glass cage, and she's figured out a way to square that thing up straight with her shoulder blade with the cone, so she can ram things with the cone. So she's using the cone as a weapon now, which is a little bit of a problematic situation when she's not even supposed to be jumping, not supposed to be running for the next 10 days. She has turned the thing that's supposed to protect her into a full-blown weapon. The house is in complete disarray.
Good to see the energy's back, though.
Oh,
you gotta love it.
She charges through our bedroom door every morning. Just charges through with the cone as if it's like one of those ram. It's a battering ram. Yeah, she's come through, but she's all the way back. I honestly thought she hated Chuck, but it wasn't. So I guess I shouldn't have hated Chuck for that long.
Well,
he stopped pooping in the house.
There you go.
Yeah, someone's got to hate him. For him to stop pooping.
You hate Chuck?
No.
Connor hates Chuck.
No, I like Chuck a lot.
No, that's not what you said.
Somebody's got to do it. You said, what a hero. Yeah. Somebody's got to do it. I guess it'll be me.
Yeah, congratulations. Without you doing that, it's probably still pooping in the kitchen.
Let's go to Ken in Oregon. What's up, Ken? Pooped in the hallway.
Hi, you handsome son of a bitch. How are you?
Hey, don't do bad, Ken. It feels like you got great taste. What do you want to talk about?
Hey, man, this AFL, that's some good stuff, brother.
Sharon.
It is. Talk about watching that. It comes on out here damn early in the morning, but it's worth the watch. I wish some of our sports guys would get on board because these boys are over there knocking each other's teeth out, punching each other in the mouth every morning.
Yep.
We need to get a little bit of that and that kind of attitude because I like those tough sons of bitches. I like them all a lot.
All right, I appreciate that, Ken.
Love that, Ken. Love that,
Ken. Now, the night games, though, are at 8:30 over there then, right? If the games are at 11:30, they probably have primetime games in Oregon for AFL. Yeah. That is perfect for the left coast to watch the games. But I would assume, just like in the NFL, with the AFL, science will come out at some point and they'll have to adjust the game. But this is a science-altering rules game. This thing has been around 124 years. Same rules back then as it is now. Now, granted, the Aussie rules football fans who are diehards have said, oh, mate, you got to go back and watch the 80s and 90s. It was a much different sport. They were killing each other back then. Well, I think evolving does happen for every sport. I think people get faster. They worry about scoring more as opposed to just killing people because that's how you win games and make the most amount of money. But that sport is a savage sport. I mean, they are running around with their heads down, just clobbering each other. I love it. I absolutely love AFL. Might be my favorite sport going. Might be my favorite sport on earth right now.
Yeah, and I wouldn't worry. I'm pretty sure with the way where Australia is located and the moon and the tides and stuff, I don't think concussions or anything like that exist in Australia.
Well, that's interesting you say that because Dr. Will Smith did never say anything about Down Under.
No, he did not.
True.
Tell the truth. He told the truth that entire movie. Didn't say Australia one time. Ain't that right, Nick?
Oh, come on. Nick? Come again?
Talk about Will Smith, Dr. Will Smith telling the truth.
Yeah, being a huge phony.
Oh,
Dr. Benedimolo?
Unbelievable.
Oh, he's been largely discredited with a lot of his work, too.
Let's go to Chris in Boston. Can't wait to talk to Chris. What's going on? Yeah, you know who discredited them? The billionaires are potentially going to lose their business. Every study that you see, you got to question who paid for this, okay? I was told a couple days ago water's bad for me, okay? Who told me that? The milk people. You know what I found out about milk? Milk is bad for you. And then they told me the fruit's bad. You can't trust anybody. All these scientists got their pockets greased.
They know nothing.
Chris, what do you want to talk about? Jeez.
Certainly don't trust Will Smith.
What?
I want to talk about COVID and the NBA.
This is the guy, huh?
Yeah, this is the guy.
Chris, let's talk. Let's talk about COVID in the NBA. What do you want to talk about, bub?
So I got, like me and my family, we all got COVID like 6 weeks ago.
Is this Rocky?
And we're all better now. But so I haven't read into like the rules yet. Just going off what you guys said. They said like you have to get 2 negative tests to come back in. The thing is that even once you're healthy, you'll still test positive because you have like fragments of the virus inside your system. So it takes a while to clear out.
What was it like? What was your case like? Because I've heard varying stories of degrees of how serious the COVID-19 hit people. Was your family hit with a very serious strand, like the ones that was having? I think people were having like
skin pigmentation.
visualization, like the whole thing, hallucinations. They were having all that stuff. Was that what happened to you?
So we got the full range. We all got it from my dad, who works. He's a nurse, so he works with COVID patients. So my youngest sister, who's 12. Had a light fever for 2 days. And my other sister was hospitalized for 5 weeks. So we got full range in our family.
What did you get there?
Can you say that again?
What was yours? The level of yours? Was there puking, pooping? Was it like the flu? What did it feel like?
So it wasn't too bad for me when I had it. It took a while for me, like my lungs to get back to normal. Like I was always panting and shit. But it wasn't too bad for me.
All right. Well, Chris, we appreciate your call. Happy to hear the family's okay, by the way. It's probably a very scary situation. I think we're going to hear a lot of those stories, though. I think a lot of people are going to have COVID-19. I think it's going to become just a part of our everyday thing.
It's crazy.
You just have to hope you don't get the 5 week.
Yeah, 5 week one, 2 days. And there's people that are asymptomatic, and then the asymptomatic doesn't carry it. Oh, they do carry it. You got to lock that. I mean, there's just so many different information coming to you from all sides of this.
Like, what happens to people who just pant like all the time? Just like in their normal day life.
Oh, you're talking about Zito's? I think you just pointed at Zito's.
You're pointing at
I was just people, because the general direction of most people is behind me in the city.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not the city's that way.
Yeah, behind.
Well, I would have been pointing at Nick if you did that. No, you wouldn't do that. You pointed right at the guy with the Portillo's hot dog. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I know nothing about it, but I feel like there's so many different information. You go to one place, you hear one thing. You go to another, you hear another thing. It's just like the milk in the water. Those are 2 real studies that I have read telling me that you don't need as much hydration as their tea. The people that tell you that you need hydrated actually are funded by the Gatorade studies, and they have their own hydration university allegedly that Gatorade created. Yeah, like there's everything's a lie. Everything is a lie. But what the truth is? Thomas Williams Sharon in the AFL tomorrow morning, 5:40 a.m. If you want to wake up and catch the second half, it'll be well worth it. Wednesday, June 17th, in the first hour, we had Charania unrolling and unveiling what the NBA's protocols are going to be for their time down in a biodome in Orlando. The good teams are in the good hotels. The bad teams are in the bad hotels. You can't play doubles ping pong, but you can golf and you can swim in the pool together. Then we also learned about the protocol for if you leave campus. You'll get nose swab, which no player wants to do. You'll get 14-day quarantine, which nobody wants to do. Kyrie Irving, Avery Bradley leading a players' coalition potentially against this. A lot of players are for it. How will this turn out? The vote has to be in by June 24th. Then we talked to Buster Olney about the baseball. He said this situation in his 20-some, 30-some years being around baseball is worse than the 94 work stoppage because in the context of the world, this is just a poor decision by the MLB and the MLBPA to have this dispute publicly. We also talked to him about a lot of other things. Buster Olney has a great personality. I had no idea. Would love to talk to that man again. We talked about the Jimmy G situation. We talked about the MLS. We talked about Bundesliga. We talked about La Liga. We talked about the Champions League. We talked about the AFL. We talked about the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a sports show on Wednesday, June 17th in the middle of no sports.
Yeah!
Let's go.
Woo! How you doing?
There was boxing on last night, I believe, on ESPN, Top Rank Boxing. There's a guy from the Philippines who is very talented, late night. Planai, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
He's going to be fun to watch as it goes through. He might be 102 pounds, though. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, June 18th. This has been the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana! Cheers. All right, Mitt. I kind of just did your minutes.
Oh, boy.
But you can potentially do them better because that's what you're here for. Ladies and gentlemen, intern Mullet Mitt's sober minutes. Go ahead,
Here we go, Mitt.
All right, we started off the show today talking about the 100-plus page guidelines to restart the NBA season with our guy Shams.
Bingo.
Man,
said his name right, too. Look at that. Hey, look at that. There's a chance you come in there with Shams. I mean, there is a Mullet Mitt shot. Look.
Well,
Shams. Yesterday we talked about Shams.
Go ahead, Mitt. No, Shams is my guy. The anonymous tip hotline could be trouble for some Western Conference teams not named the New Orleans Pelicans.
Bingo.
Players will be able to go swimming and play singles ping pong. Doubles will be shut down.
Bingo.
If a player leaves the Biodome, there will be a 10-day quarantine and the dreaded nose swab test.
Yep.
A majority of the players want the return, but several players do not believe it is the right time for them to make their return. The NBA is sitting back listening to their players about social justice issues and support the players driving the conversation.
Wow.
Hey, Connor. Cool
Did you see that?
Done, Mitt.
Connor, would you have been able to put that sentence together from what you heard earlier? Answer, no.
Everything he says I hate.
Cool glasses. Cool glasses, man.
Oh, got him.
All right. Well, MLS players,
Hey, don't
thank
get
you guys
fucking
for going
distracted.
down to
You're
Orlando.
The first time handling success here all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Let's go, Mitt.
Shout out to Twine for the banger. We went through how one throw can change the NFL. The 49ers are a classy organization, and Jimmy G did not have a problem with them looking at TB12.
Who's an unclassy organization?
That's it.
Do it, Mitt.
Why did we even say they were a classy organization?
Does he not know?
Mitt, this is tough, bub.
Come on, phone a friend.
What made them a classy organization?
Don't you dare.
Because they told Jimmy G that they were looking at him.
What team wouldn't do that in your
the Patriots.
Technically,
he's very close.
Very close. Yeah, you're right. They wouldn't. But in this particular case, add to the minutes. We were talking about the fucking Green Bay Packers. This is who we were talking. Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers.
See that? You see that, Mitt? How that works?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Ty.
The Patriots too, by the way. The Patriots would not have told anybody about anything.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Right. Go ahead. Sorry about that, Mitt. Good work, by the way.
Yeah, you're doing really well.
You're doing really good. This is really good, Mitt.
All right, well, Buster Oley came on. Baseball lifer joined the show. Pat has a .333 on-base percentage while playing professional baseball.
Thank you.
Batting from the wrong side of the plate.
There it is. Mitt, that does not get talked about enough. That final little sentence there. I would like to see any other professional baseball player do such a thing.
I couldn't imagine it. Also, couldn't imagine that 2020 is going to be worse for baseball than the 1940. Wow.
No. Come on, you're almost there. Come on, man.
1994-95 season.
Go back to the World War there.
Stopped himself. Too.
The owners will either have to wave the white flag or be ready to go to war. Rob Manfred doesn't have any real power, and the decision is in the hands of the owners. The reality of the calendar is setting in,
kind of a weak
and
one,
we should expect a decision within the next few days.
Yeah, okay.
The greatest sports documentary of all time, Pat McAfee, professional baseball player, is free.
Okay, go back.
The greatest.
The greatest what?
Sports documentary of all time.
Commit,
brand, man. That was a good run. Greatest comedic sports documentary of all time. I don't want to go against Screwball or
Hoop
Dreams or
Undertakers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The last any of those. That's not.
Bears.
Don't try to bury our business before we even get started. It is the greatest comedic sports documentary in people's eyes. Obviously, not yours, but in people's eyes. I like the fact that you think it's the greatest sports documentary, though. I mean, that's a good idea, a good way to pitch it, but that was false for the minutes. Not a bad run there from
Yeah, good job, Mitt.
That was really good. That might have been your best appearance yet. Good shoes, too. You got good shoes on. A good shoe day. That could be a case, yeah. Did you get hammered drunk last night?
I did not get hammered
Yes,
drunk
you did. Stop lying.
Were you with him, Connor?
No, but I know his routine.
What is his routine?
Wake up, drink, go to bed. 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 I'm it. I'm drunk. I'm stupid. I'm it.
Oh, bars, bro. Really did good there, really tying that one together.
Well, I appreciate. I mean, you guys just knew the beat right off the bat. It would have been very difficult if you didn't.
Yeah,
so thank
of course. Yeah, it was a team effort.
Team effort, yeah.
Yeah, we weren't a part of the song writing lyrics, but we were definitely part of the back end development.
Appreciate that. Unbelievable composers, all you guys.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. It's like I should be on Songland next year, maybe.
That's a great idea.
That show's the best. It's done, I think. Usher picked up a banger, though, from Esther Dean. I think everybody should listen to it, called California. 59 minutes after the hour 2 started. We're going to get the hell out of here. We're back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big guests on tomorrow. I believe Bill Polian's on tomorrow.
Hey-o.
Bill Polian's on tomorrow in the morning, and Undertaker's on tomorrow afternoon with me and AJ Hawk. I mean, there's a lot of shit to do. Please tell a friend to subscribe to this channel, because once we get to 1 million subscribers, we're going to give away a lot of shit. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Wednesday, June 17th. You're the best. Thanks for watching.